under the franchise tag for the second year in a row. The deadline to tag potential free agents is tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. The Titans hold the number 1 pick in the draft, but ESPN's Chris Canty has an idea for the Steelers.
Why wouldn't we be talking about Pittsburgh trying to get to number 1 if they think Cam Ward is head and shoulders above any other quarterback prospect in this draft? The Tennessee Titans got a new GM. They are not just a quarterback away. So if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and you think Cam Ward is the goods, you think he's your future franchise quarterback, then why not give up 3 ones in order to get him?
Chris Canty on Unsportsmanlike. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reports the Packers will re-sign linebacker Isaiah McDuffie to a 2-year deal that could be worth up to $9.5 million. Braves catcher Sean Murphy will miss the start of the new season with a cracked rib on his left side. In the new men's college basketball poll, Auburn and Duke stay at 1 and 2. Houston is now 3rd. ESPN doubleheader at 7 Eastern. Duke against Wake Forest. Houston against Kansas.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Canty, coming up Tuesday. We're less than a week away from free agency, so I'll tell you which players can make teams title contenders. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
And Mr. Toby Tumpley. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Hope you had an absolutely awesome weekend. Happy Lundi Gras, everybody, to all those who celebrate. If you are working today, well, so are we, so get over it. I'm just kidding. We got a lot to talk about here over the next 3 hours. LSU baseball gets a sweep in Frisco. LSU football nearing a defensive line coach hire. The Saints have added 2 assistants. We got a ton to do. Let's go.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right, let's begin with the LSU defensive line coaching search. Just as the quick catch-up, as everybody knows, about a week ago, Bo Davis surprised most everybody in college football whenever he left LSU after 1 season to take the defensive line coaching job with the New Orleans Saints, something we've talked about a good bit here. A guy that doesn't love the new world of college football and has made it known. And so he's leaving college football to go to the NFL. So with LSU here less than a week away from the start of spring practice, thinking they had their defensive line coach locked up with some stability, highest paid defensive line coach in the country, an LSU alum, all that stuff. Now all of a sudden very quickly going through a search. Over the weekend, Bruce Feldman reported that Gerald Chapman was the front runner for this job and ultimately declined and decided instead that he would be staying at the University of Florida. Now, Chapman's story is an interesting one because, if you remember, Chapman had been at LSU on 2 different occasions in his career. Once the final season under Ed Orgeron in 2021 when Brian Kelly came in. Obviously, he didn't retain that staff. And then Brian Kelly brought Gerald Chapman back to Baton Rouge. And interestingly, Chapman was the interim defensive line coach after Jamar Cain very abruptly left in the middle of spring ball to take a job with the Denver Broncos. And when it came time to make the full-time hire, they brought in Jimmy Lindsey and didn't offer the job to Chapman. Chapman went to Tulane for a year and then went to Florida, and now LSU circled back. So a couple of things about Chapman that are important to note here. Number one, Gerald Chapman's still a young coach. He's got 4 children, 7 and under. So you're talking about a guy that still has a young family, and throughout his relatively young coaching career has never been at one place more than 2 years. So this is very likely a situation where 2 things are at play. Number one, stability matters some for his family. The other is money. Now, Gerald Chapman this year at Florida made just over $500,000. It was I'm looking for the exact number here. His salary was doggone it, I thought it was here. In any event, Chapman was making in the 5s at Florida and was in line for a slight raise at LSU. But as I understand it, one of the real sticking points here was his buyout. He had a buyout, as I was told today, over $300,000. And you might say, well, what's the big deal? Well, at some point you get sick of spending on buyouts. And especially in a time where revenue share is part of our reality, and you're looking at ways to increase revenue and decrease spending, putting that money on the ledger for a buyout for a coach can be problematic, especially as a defensive line coach, a position coach. Now, if it were a head coach, you're having a very different conversation. So I think that was part of this. All in all, over the weekend, Bruce Feldman announced that LSU and Gerald Chapman couldn't come to an agreement, so Chapman's going to stay at Florida. They'll give him a contract extension. He'll stay in Gainesville. So now LSU has to turn their attention elsewhere. And as I learned, we have a report today at LouisianaSports.net. There are a handful of candidates outside of Chapman that are sort of involved in these conversations. The front runner, as I understand it, as of today, is Al Davis. Now, not that Al Davis. Al Davis is currently the defensive line coach at Missouri. So this is one worth keeping an eye on. Davis is actually from Louisiana. He has ties to Blake Baker, Kevin Peoples, and also Jake Olson. All 3 of those LSU assistants were on staff at Missouri when Davis was there as well. Davis played collegiately at Arkansas, so a guy that played in the SEC, is coached in the SEC, and this year at Missouri made $430,000. He would be in line, obviously, for what would be a relatively significant raise from what he was making at Missouri to what LSU might be willing to pay. That is more fiscally responsible, we'll call it that. Al Davis, as I would say, is, as it was expressed to me by multiple people today, is very likely the front runner for this job. Now, the caveat that we always talk about with coaching hires is it is never done until it's done. Like, contract signed, press release goes out, coaches at the podium doing the introductory press conference. I do think at this point Davis would be the leader in the clubhouse for this job, but there's a handful of other candidates that have also been mentioned. Randall Joyner is an interesting one. He is the Ole Miss defensive line coach presently. He's been there for 4 years, and he has coached some high-level defensive linemen there at Ole Miss. Sam Williams, Jared Ivey, Cedric Johnson, J.J. Pegues. He's done a good job at Ole Miss, sort of a top-of-the-game type guy. He made $750,000 this past year at Ole Miss, $725 actually to be exact. As I understand it, he's got a similar buyout situation to Gerald Chapman, so financially this could be difficult to pull off because it would be a very expensive hire. Now, you might say, Matt, you just spent all that money on the roster. You're going to skimp on a D-line coach when you were paying Bo. Listen, I think part of it is you were willing to spend what you had to spend to get Bo Davis because there were so many people internally that wanted Bo Davis. Look, he had so many connections here. I mean, connections with Frank Wilson, with Verge Osbury, with so many former staff members, administrators, Scott Woodward, of course, boosters. Bo played here. Former players vouched for him. I mean, it was a thing where so many people wanted to make that happen to provide stability at that spot for a long time that it was justifiable. I think you have to reframe and say, okay, what are you actually willing to spend in the regular market, not when it's just Bo Davis, right? So I think that's where this might change a little bit. So I'd say Al Davis, Randall Joyner are 2 that have been contacted. Davis probably the front runner at this point. The others that that are interesting, worth keeping an eye on. Pat Hill is one. I had to clarify. I was like, I heard Pat Hill and I was like, Pat Hill, like the former Fresno coach? No. Pat Hill, who played for the Minnesota Vikings, actually is currently the assistant defensive line coach with the Minnesota Vikings. In Brian Kelly's first season in Baton Rouge, Pat Hill was a defensive analyst for LSU in that 2022 season. And then the last 2 seasons, he's been with the Minnesota Vikings as their assistant defensive line coach. There's an opportunity to bring someone with an NFL pedigree back to Baton Rouge. Brandon Dedrick is an interesting one. You probably recognize the name because Dedrick is a guy who played collegiately at Alabama, so a name that we're all familiar with from his time playing for the Crimson Tide. Since his NFL career ended, Dedrick went to Ole Miss, where he was a defensive analyst for 2 years in 2023 and 2024, and just this offseason was hired by Southern Miss as their defensive line coach. So he's presently the defensive line coach at Southern Miss, but has yet to coach a game or a practice there. But that's another one who apparently has had exploratory conversations. And the last name, as I understand it, is Travion Robertson, who's currently the defensive line coach at South Carolina. And boy, they've had a lot of success. So you can see some common threads here. Gerald Chapman, Al Davis, Randall Joyner, Pat Hill, Brandon Dedrick, Travion Robertson. Every guy I just mentioned has ties to the SEC, ties to LSU. So Brian Kelly is narrowing that search here with very specifically with ties to the SEC. But here's the thing. There's 2 things to consider. Number one is timeline. Now, the coaches are off right now with the Mardi Gras holiday, and they begin spring practice on Saturday. So I wouldn't anticipate any type of announcement until at least Wednesday, right? You get past Mardi Gras. Wednesday would stand to be the reason where you'd make an announcement, or later in the week where you might hear something more. But Wednesday, probably, I don't think you'd hear anything before Wednesday, which would seem to make sense for that timeline with today and then tomorrow being Mardi Gras. The other thing is when you're making this hire, I think there's a very real consideration that you have to have, which is how much does recruiting matter? There was a time when you had coaches on staff that the primary reason they were on staff, not the only reason, but the primary reason they were on staff was recruiting. Like, for example, when Frank Wilson left to become a head coach in 2017, it had to be earlier than that, because it was Les Miles. Les hired Jabbar Jalouk as his running backs coach. Had to be 2015, I guess, as his running backs coach. Well, this is non-debatable. You have to have someone on LSU staff at all times with ties to New Orleans. That is too important a recruiting ground. You have to have someone with deep ties to New Orleans. I'm not saying it's the only reason Jabbar Jalouk is a coach. I mean, he's doing great now. I mean, he went to ULL with Napier. He's now at Florida with Napier. He's doing really well. But at the time, you hired a high school coach because you had to have ties in New Orleans. It's just an example, right? My point is now, I don't know how critical having a recruiter on staff is anymore. I mean, Bo Davis is a great example of that. I mean, Coach Pete Jenkins was here last week and shared with us the story that I know we talked about, but he shared about how when Bo Davis came to LSU, kind of had LSU lined up with Simeon Barrow and Dominic Williams, 2 transfers. And he worked hard, recruited them hard. They were ready to come. And then it just came down to LSU got outbid. And so they went somewhere else. And that can be jarring. Like, look at Jakeem Stewart, Bryce Underwood. Like, you can be the best recruiter on the planet, but for some guys, it's just going to be a bottom line, binary conversation, as Terrio would say, a digital conversation. So I really think that's part of it. I'd almost prefer saying, okay, who's going to be the guy that you can bring in that is immediately going to help mold and develop the talent you've brought in? Because you brought in talent. You've got Jacoby and Guillory coming off of injury. You got guys like Ahmad Bro and Don McKinley moving up to their sophomore seasons this year. You brought in Sadir Mitchell from the University of Texas. I mean, you have you have 4 young freshmen that you're bringing in this class. You got some talent and numbers and depth, but they're going to be developed. So I'm more concerned with this defensive line coaching hire to say, okay, who's going to develop this defensive line talent this year, less than I am who can recruit defensive line talent. Because if you need to, you can always go into the portal and you can buy it. That's just the reality. The sooner you accept it, that's just what it is. So get guys who can develop this talent. But as it stands, as I understand it, Al Davis from Missouri seems to be the front runner. How would Eli Drinkwitz just lose his mind? I mean, Blake Baker, Kevin Peoples, Jake Olson, and now possibly Al Davis as well. It's like LSU's just pillaging the Missouri defensive staff. But we'll see how that all develops. But just some names that I've heard and want to pass along to you. We'll keep an eye on as it develops and when something comes of all this, we'll certainly talk about it here. All right, it is After Further Review. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light. Hey, if you're out at a parade today or you're going for Mardi Gras tomorrow, make sure you got plenty of ice-cold Bud Light. We're at the Endymion Ball on Saturday. You know I had a bottle of whiskey with me, but had the ice chest full of Bud Light. Sometimes you got to switch to guns. And, of course, easy drinking, great taste, great way to celebrate with Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the LSU Tigers as well. Baseball at the Box returns tomorrow. You're going to be at the Box. Make sure you got plenty of ice-cold Bud Light. Drink easy with ice-cold Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. All right, let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back, and we will talk a little LSU baseball. Tigers sweep their way through the Frisco Classic. I'll give you my takeaways next on AFR.
After Further Review.
We're brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, yourgoodwood.com. That's yourgoodwood.com. Gents, have you done it yet? Have you made that phone call? Have you gone to the website? Have you scheduled that consultation? If not, you need to. Yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. Hormone replacement therapy, ED treatments. Don't go through life minimalized. Don't go through life feeling sick and tired all the time. Don't go through life feeling slodgy and tired. If you want to go through life with the strength and vitality and energy that you had in your 20s, like, you can recapture that. A simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate for hormone replacement therapy, safely and affordably supplementing you to get you back to healthy levels, to renew all of that energy, to build muscle, to burn fat, to improve your libido. So many ways you can improve your quality of life. Lowest prices, never any contracts. Learn more today. yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the...
Further Review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Shot out into center field. Does it get down? It does! Base hit! Tigers take the lead on the RBI single by Josh Pearson. He's got that clutch gene.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to stay ready as I can in the dugout, things like that. I mean, whenever I'm not in the lineup, I pretend like I pick a spot in the lineup and then I pretend that I'm playing. So whenever they walk up to bat, I pretend like I'm taking the at-bat in that moment. And that's something my older brother taught me going through the minor leagues. So that's just something I've kind of taken and tried to do throughout this season. And I mean, it just helps me to stay ready and locked into any moment. And then just being where my feet are, and then like I could get nervous or things like that. But I mean, it's just a great moment to be in, and just happy to be standing at the plate in that moment, being where my feet are. So.
What a weekend for Josh Pearson. My goodness. One of the stars of the weekend as LSU swept their way through the Frisco Classic, beating Kansas State, Nebraska, and Sam Houston State. I tell you, man, if I were to look at this weekend in total and give you one big, like 10,000-foot view, overarching takeaway from the weekend, it's that LSU went on the road in a minor league ballpark, beautiful ballpark. Saturday at 11,000 fans there. You played 3 regional caliber teams. You played it in a 4-team regional format. And you swept through the weekend, winning all 3 games in very different ways. That has got to get Jay Johnson, Nate Yeske, this staff, these players leaving Frisco feeling very good about this team. You think you know, you go through fall, you go through preseason workouts, you think you've learned things about your team, so you put the team out there with what you think you know, and then you start to get answers. Like, I know LSU went and beat Purdue Fort Wayne and just embarrassed them all weekend long, and that's validating about the power of the arms and the depth of the lineup and all that stuff, but you also were bullying a much lesser opponent. So this was a different kind of challenge, and you went and you found ways to win each day. On Friday, it was a back-and-forth ball game where you needed some heroics in the 9th inning, cutting a runner at the plate to then go have Josh Pearson's heroics in the 10th to win it in extras. On Saturday, you found yourself down 5-0. You get 10 unanswered runs. You end up winning 11-6. On Sunday, 7-run second inning. You find yourself up 11-4, and then all of a sudden you blink. Nobody can throw a strike, and now you're in a 3-run ball game in the final 3 innings, and you got to lock back in. 3 different ball games that you had to win in 3 very different ways, and you came out of the weekend undefeated, which was awesome to see. A few observations from the weekend. Let's start with the offense. I know everybody wants to talk about walks and the pitching, and I'll get to that in a second. But over the 4 games you played in Texas, starting Wednesday against Dallas Baptist, you scored 38 runs in 4 games. Like, it's nearly 10 a game. I'm not great at math, but I can do that. That's going to win you a lot. The 8 that you scored against K-State obviously was the low water mark. Really, really good weekend offensively. You know, whenever you exploded Saturday for the 10 runs, you carried that right into Sunday. And not only were you able to score, but you did it in different ways. It would be different. It would be one thing if you were just like relying on the long ball, or you had an offense that was incapable of a big 3-run blast, a bloop and a blast. But just think about like the second inning on Sunday. Milam leads off with a homer, and then later in that inning, Ethan Fry gets a 3-run homer. Twice on Sunday, you had situations where, and you know I hate this, but Braswell sacrifice bunt, you get a runner on third, Stanfield comes up, does exactly what he's supposed to do. Get the ball to the outfield or put it on the ground behind the runner to get the runner from third home. They did that twice in the game on Sunday. Executed to perfection. So showing you can generate offense in a lot of different ways. 4 with 2 strikeouts with the bases loaded. Like, that's unacceptable. What he did on Sunday was show a very team-oriented approach. Just keep the merry-go-round going and get that run home. Sacrificing himself effectively. All you can do is put the bat on the ball, get it in play to the right side to get that run home, and he did it twice. You heard Josh Pearson as we started. What about the weekend for Josh Pearson? Game-winning RBI on Friday. On Saturday, dude banks 3 doubles. And then on Sunday, he gets on base 4 times and scores 3 runs. He's making it very hard for Jay Johnson ever to put him on the bench. But remember what Jay Johnson told us at the beginning of the season. He wanted the combination of Brown, Pearson, and Fry to essentially combine to look like a first-team all-conference player. Well, you look at those 3 right now, combined, 24 runs scored, 19 RBI, 12 walks, 8 hit by pitch. All they do is all those guys have done is get on base and score. Josh Pearson leads. He scored 12 runs already this year. Like, it's so impressive what each of them have done when they've had their opportunity to do it. And then offensively, we talked about this a bit on Friday in the immediate postgame, but Daniel Dickinson behind Jared Jones is just a massive story. Now, he is slaughtering non-conference pitching. We got to see what it looks like when you get into conference play, and I don't know that we're going to figure that out against Missouri in the opening week of conference play. But you're already seeing teams have to choose. On Friday, Kansas State intentionally walks Jared Jones. They get to Dickinson. Boom, 3-run homer. On Sunday, it was in the second inning. You got 2 on. You got a base open. Jared Jones up. They elect to pitch to Jones. Boom, RBI double. And then Dickinson followed with an RBI single. And then Ethan Fry followed with a 3-run homer in the big 7-run inning. The point is, teams are having to choose. Do you pitch to Jones or do you pitch to Dickinson? Either way, it's not a great option. It's because Dickinson has been productive behind Jones. So Curiel, Jones, Dickinson, 1, 2, 3. I'm not sure you change that. Barring something unforeseen, like if all of a sudden Derek Curiel forgets how to play baseball and you have to have a table setter that can get on base. But, I mean, that guy's getting on base at like a 550 clip right now. The top third of your order feels pretty much like, you know what? I think they're going to roll with that the rest of the year. The walks are certainly something that a lot have talked about. You walk 7 against Kansas State. You walk 10 against Sam Houston. It's totally unacceptable. The thing that I would tell you is this. I'm more concerned with who is issuing those walks in those leverage situations than the walks themselves. Here's what I mean. Skip Bertman used to always say by the time you get to Omaha, he's down to like 7 pitchers total that he's counting on. That's probably extended a little bit more just because of the format of the postseason. But even if it's 8 or 9, you're not using 15 pitchers in the postseason. So this right now, this month before you get to conference play, is about putting as many of these guys out there in as many different spots as possible to see how they react in different spots. Some guys are going to be starters. Some guys are going to be high leverage guys. Some guys are going to be your innings eaters in the middle. Like some guys are going to be your closers. Like Kason Evans has made a strong case for that. We'll see what happens when they get Gavin Guidry back. But the point is, like, I could rattle off names like Anderson, Ianson, Shores, Ware, Schmidt, Benj, Zach Cowan, Kason Evans. And that's before you even get to Guidry. That's 9 names I mentioned. 9. Like, Jay and Yeski could take those 9 into the postseason and probably get through the entire postseason just with those guys. And I didn't mention Cooper Williams or Maverick Rizzi or DJ Primo or Jaden Newt or Cade Woods. All guys with good arm talent that are kind of struggling and fighting a little bit to figure out confidence and role. And it may not happen for those guys this year to where they're playing an impactful role. Maybe what it'll be is those are the arms you're going to use in the midweek to get them on the mound, to get them experience, to get them feeling good. And their time will come at a later point in their career. Listen, it's a long season. Guys could develop roles and we'll see. But I think more than anything, you're learning what you have in some of these young guys. And it's pretty clear. Kason Evans is awesome and is going to be a dude for you and going to pitch major leverage spots for you this season. Cooper Williams, he's a lefty, and I mean, he can obviously has massive upside. Right now, I think it'd be tough to justify putting him in a game in a high leverage spot in an SEC weekend right now. So that's all this process is a part of learning all of this. The other thing from the weekend is you sort of assess maybe some of these defensive questions we had coming into the season, like how would the left side of your infield look with moving Braswell to third and Milam to short? Oh, my God. The Milam-Dickinson flip play we will probably talk about that forever. Like when we talk about the greatest defensive plays in LSU history, Ray Wright in right field going over the wall against Stanford in the national championship game in 2000, Jake Fraley's diving catch against Texas A&M. Like, we're going to talk about that one because it was a super viral moment that we all saw on Twitter and social media, even if you weren't watching the game because of the stream. Like, everybody saw that play, and it was stunning to watch college play. Like, you might see that at the big league level. You don't see that at the college level very often. Milan was even asked about this after the game. Like, do he and Dickinson practice that flip play?
I haven't. I mean, it's kind of just instincts. Like, you just play the game, play to have fun, and, you know, everybody's going to give us our best shot. So, I mean, we got to just go out there and have fun, and that's what we've been doing.
Do you have any idea who's going to flip that ball here?
Yeah, I told him let's flip it, and, you know, the guy wasn't the fastest, and we knew that, so we gave it a shot.
Amazing. Don't even practice it. Yeah, just give it a shot. What the hell? Hey, flip it. Okay. Boom. NBD. Yeah, I think that middle infield is going to work just fine. We don't need to have that conversation anymore. Behind the plate, look, Aaron Beatty had a moment on Saturday where a ball got by him, a runner scored from second. Like, on Wednesday in Frisco, you had 3 straight wild pitches that got through him. Like, the ball is catching is not just about how many guys you can throw out in the base paths. Like, you've got to be a brick wall. You cannot let balls get through you like that. Your pitchers have got to be able to confidently throw breaking balls in the dirt. And you can't do it right now with Aaron Beatty. He's a tremendous upside guy. I'm not saying throw dirt on him. I think he's going to be an amazing player at LSU. Hernandez is a more experienced veteran player who's hitting 270 right now. It's not been great. Like, Hernandez was 0 for 5 on Friday, came back on Sunday, 3 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs scored. Guy's got 600 career at-bats. Like, when conference play starts, Hernandez is going to start all 3 games against Missouri. He's got to. It just has to be that way. So you want to get Aaron Beatty work in the midweek? Absolutely. Get him his ABs, get him his reps. But when it counts, it's just got to be Luis Hernandez, barring something unforeseen as we develop throughout this year. 5-game week for the Tigers. They'll play North Dakota State. It's one of the Dakotas. South Dakota, North Dakota. Does it really matter? Not really. You know, it doesn't really matter. You remember one year, not long ago, North Dakota was all pissed. They wanted to just call themselves Dakota. Do you remember this?
I don't remember that.
The state, not the school.
The actual state.
Yeah, because they said South Dakota did so much more in tourism than North Dakota, and it was because there was a perception about being north, right? South just sounds like it's in the south as opposed to north, which doesn't sound as good. And I said, well, that could be it, or maybe it's Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Probably a better answer.
Yellowstone, all those things.
Is that in South Dakota?
The national park is, yeah. That's where Mount Rushmore is.
Yeah. I just knew Rushmore was there. Been there. I didn't even know it was Yellowstone. I thought Yellowstone was in California. You might be right. I don't know.
No, not California.
Not a big national park guy. To all those who celebrate, congratulations. But anyway, one of the Dakota teams is coming in.
It is North Dakota State, by the way.
North Dakota State. Are they the Bison?
They are.
That's the Bison. That's not
them.
the Sioux. That's just North Dakota, the University of North Dakota. And South Dakota State is the Jackrabbits.
Sorry, Yellowstone's in Wyoming. That's my bad.
I thought that was, those things you don't guess until you.
Well, I mean, Wyoming's right next to South Dakota.
Yeah, that's not exactly the proximity thing here ain't where we're going. We're going for accuracy,
We corrected it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of felt like, because I've been to Mount Rushmore. It was when I was working in Minnesota. Like, everybody played hooky a day, and we later learned to drive just to go. When are you ever that close?
Exactly.
So it was like a 6-hour drive from where I was. So drive, see it, drive back. I feel like I would have known if I was in Yellowstone, right? It feels like there would have been a sign.
Probably.
Yeah, probably. That's what threw me off a little. Turns out Muse just was wrong again. Paul, you surprised by that at all, Paulie? Yeah, Muse was wrong.
Not one bit, no.
Yeah, not a little bit. But Muse did introduce us last week to Play That Song by Train.
There you go. You like it.
Erica loves it. I'm telling you.
Did they play it Saturday?
Oh, of course they played it. We danced to it. She asked me before that we went. She's like, will you dance with me to that song? I was like, I'll dance with you in any song. I mean, I'll put my dancing shoes on. That's why I'm going to this party. What are you talking about? So we had a great time. All right, it's after further review. Let's knock out a quick break, y'all. Our Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. We'll go around the SEC. Johnny Damon. Yes, that Johnny Damon. Noted Yankee World Series champion, Johnny Damon. That's right, Muse. Take that in your face. We're not talking
He won another one,
We're not talking at all about anything else. Except I will tell him about the time I met him in 1998.
Hey.
See if I'm sure he remembers. It's AFR.
After further review.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001. That pesky weather. That pesky weather, I tell you, it just won't decide what it wants to do. Now we get into the middle 70s, then you wake up and it's 47 degrees. Like, what are we doing? Are we doing heat or are we doing AC? Here's the bottom line. If you got issues with either, you call River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Spell it out, O-N-E, 1hourbr.com for River City's 1 Hour Air, as we tell you all the time, where they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. That's their slogan because they value two things above all else. They value your time and your money. They're going to schedule time to be at your house. If they're 1 minute late, you don't come out of pocket 1 cent. That's number one. Number two, your money. Mention the Moscona special. They're like $25 off any system repair. And when they do recommend service, they will give you a good, better, and best option so you decide what's best for you and your budget. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Family-owned and community-driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Johnny Damon's coming up in 21 minutes from right now. It's wild. I got an email a few weeks back. It was like, hey, do you want to have Johnny Damon on the show? I'm like, Johnny Damon, who won a World Series with the Yankees in 2009 and who didn't play any other meaningful games for meaningful teams ever? Yeah.
No, he did. There was a pretty meaningful stint. Actually,
you know what? There was. In
the 4 years prior.
In 1998, he played for the Kansas City Royals. And a young 18-year-old Matty Moe was at Key Club International Convention. Host the Royals. And a young left fielder named Johnny Damon was subject to a barrage of friendly,
of course.
Friendly banter from an 18-year-old Matty Moe. And Johnny Damon, great dude, played along the whole game. We'd ask him questions, and he would give us thumbs up or thumbs down behind his back, which is very cool.
Yes.
And then he did, in fact, toss me one of the long toss balls.
Hey, look at that.
Still got it.
Man of the people.
1998. 27 years ago.
Ooh. When you play 18 seasons, man, in the bigs, that's...
I love doing this too. So I told you this. Whenever I get to talk to someone like this, I always go and look, right, where did they go to high school and who else went to that high school? Because you'll find some interesting stories because there's always going to be something. So he went to the same high school as Joey Fatone from NSYNC. Oh. See, like now I got to check ages, right?
Nice.
So Joey Fatone's 48.
Damon's 51.
So they would have been there at the same time.
Yeah.
DJ Khaled.
Another one.
Who's 49. How old?
Damon's 51. I was looking him up earlier.
Khaled's 49. Bro,
they were there.
At the same high school, same time, Johnny Damon, DJ Khaled, Joey Fatone. Is that all time?
Yeah.
Wayne Brady.
Well, wait.
Who's 52? Oh, my God,
was like a grade ahead of him.
Like, isn't this amazing?
This was Dr. Phillips High School, right? Dr. Phillips High School in
All right, now listen, that's just the entertainers. Clinton Dix went there.
They were not there at the same time.
Trey Griffey, who's Ken Griffey's son.
Jeez.
Let's see. Matt Milano, NFL linebacker. AJ Przinsky? How old's Przinsky? Wait, I can look this up. Hang on.
God, he was so good.
Przinsky's 48. Bro,
they were on the same team in high school.
All these dudes were there the same.
Johnny Damon and AJ Przinsky. How you doing?
Oh, my God. You had two big leaguers on the team, NBD. You know what?
Gosh.
20 years from now, somebody's going to look back at, like, the Catholic High team from this past year and do with William Schmidt and all those dudes on that squad and be like, all those dudes on the – yeah, that's how you win a national championship in high school. Also speaks to the quality of ball in the Baton Rouge area right now. It's pretty amazing. So anyway, Johnny Damon, this is going to be a fun convo. He's got a new sports drink that he's promoting. The sports drink is called A-Game. So it's kind of like with Super Bowl where they're like, hey, do you want to interview so-and-so? Just give him a second to plug. It's like, yeah, I'll talk to Johnny Damon for 10 minutes. We're doing it on Zoom, too. That'd be great. So if you're not watching, make sure you get to WBTR or the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Johnny Damon here in about 17 minutes from right now. Mike Triplett next hour. Ben McDonald in hour 3. Ton to do. Okay, let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Clark Lee has named Steve Gregory and Nick Lazinski as co-defensive coordinators. Gregory, it's his second season with the Doors. Last year, he was associate defensive coordinator. They're getting creative with these titles just to get these people these raises. Lazinski, moving into his fourth year at Vanderbilt. He was the linebackers coach, but now being promoted.
The Florida Gators.
Florida's adding former Gators starting linebacker David Reese to its support staff. He'll be a quality control coach there on the defensive side of the ball. He's 27 years old. Spent 4 years with the Gators, was a team captain as well for 3 of those years. Began his career as a defensive graduate assistant at Central Michigan under his former coach, Jim McElwain. Then went to Eastern Michigan, now back down to Gainesville.
The Missouri Tigers.
Eli Drinkwitz giving an update on Connor Tollison. They opened up spring ball on Friday. Missouri did. Sorry, Paulie. Buzzed the tower there with that one. My bad. And the 3-year starting center, Connor Tollison, is doing pretty good. He'll snap the ball during 7-on-7s, but that's about it as he's rehabbing from an injury from a season ago. He's started 35 consecutive games for Mizzou.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Guard Jackson Robinson's injury, his wrist injury, is going to keep him out for the remainder of the season. That, according to Mark Pope, announced that after Kentucky's their loss their loss to Auburn at Rupp Arena on Saturday. Robinson had just gotten back from injury in a Wednesday night's win at Oklahoma. Didn't play in the second half, and now will be out for the rest of the season. Robinson transferred to Kentucky from BYU, the second leading scorer this year.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
And Alberto Osuna has been denied a preliminary injunction to allow him to play for Tennessee this year. Man, not often we have ever seen an athlete go to court against the NCAA and win. Osuna filed a complaint against the NCAA saying he should have an additional year of eligibility at the Division I level. Played last year at North Carolina. Now, sitting on the outside looking in, trying to get eligible for the Vols. But so far, courts say no. All right, there you have it. That is around the SEC. Brought to you by Parish Restoration. ParishRestoration.com. 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 It's the patented non-toxic dry fog you hear me talk about all the time. Kill mold, remove odor. Have mold, think you might. Have odor that you can't get rid of. Parish Restoration can help. It's simple. It's cost-effective, and it's efficient. They can fog your home in like half a day. So even if you got work to do, whatever, I mean, you don't have to pull out furniture or plants or anything like that. They'll go, it's perfect for pets and family and everything. So they'll fog, close up all the doors and windows. They'll let the fog dwell. As soon as it dissipates, boom, you're back into a clean, mold-free, fresh-smelling home. They can fog your vehicle as well. Maybe you bought a used vehicle. Maybe it was owned by a smoker before. You can't get that smoke smell out of there. This will do it. Parish Restoration. Go to ParishRestoration.com. ParishRestoration.com. All right, y'all. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. We'll knock out a quick break, wrap up hour number one. Remember, you can always email us, tweet us, text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. The Saints today have reportedly added 2 more assistant coaches. Mike Triplett's here in 45 minutes, but we'll give you we'll discuss it with Mike. We'll give you the update when we come back to wrap up hour number one next.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for more than 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. You can always start at the website, getgordon.com. A little chat bubble right there at the bottom right. You want to talk and chat with an associate right there on the website. You can do it from your mobile phone. If you'd prefer to talk to a living, breathing human being, you can do that as well. Just call the 8s. 888-8888, 888-8888 for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. And remember, it's not just auto accidents. It's any type of accident where you've been injured and it's not your fault. And they're not just in Baton Rouge. Gordon has offices across the entire state of Louisiana. So no matter where you are in the boot, there's a Gordon McKernan office near you so you can talk to one of the associates. They can get you what you deserve. Go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. Of course, there you can learn more about the G Team and all about Gordon Gives, the philanthropic arm of Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
Further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Happy Lundi Gras, everybody. Hope you're having a great one, man. If you're out at a parade or wherever you might be, thanks for hanging out with us, either on the parade route or if you just got the day off and you're hanging, or if you're at work. We appreciate you for being there with us. Johnny Damon coming up about 10 minutes from right now. Mike Triplett will be here next hour. And I want to delve into a lot because it's a pretty newsy day on the Saints front. First of all, there's a report out there that the Saints are entertaining the possibility of releasing Tyrann Mathieu. I'll ask Mike about it. Listen, as I read the contract that Tyrann currently has, he's got a cap hit of about $11 million. His dead cap number is 13.8. So it would cost you more to release Tyrann than it would to have him on the roster. Like, I can understand the argument of an aging player in his 30s. Tyrann will be 33 in May. Last year, his production declined pretty dramatically year over year. So I understand wanting to get younger. Financially, that wouldn't make a lick of sense. So I'll ask Mike his thoughts on that. And then also the Saints, if you missed it, are reportedly adding two more coaches to Kellen Moore's staff. Matt Zenitz reported the Saints are hiring veteran defensive backs coach Gary Brown. So Gary Brown has been with the Steelers for the last 4 years. So you're adding a guy that has tons of NFL experience and is very respected. But you do wonder sometimes, like, if a coach is making what on its face is a lateral move, right? He's going from position coach with the Steelers to position coach with the Saints. Is it title? Is it money? Like, how do you make it worthwhile to make that jump? That's something I'll be very interested to see whenever we find out what those titles will be, because you have to make it worth that coach's while to make that jump. And the other is a name that you probably recognize, Scott Linehan. Scott Linehan is, and Nick Underhill had this first. Linehan, you might remember, was the former head coach of the Rams. Well, he's been all over the NFL, Minnesota, Miami, Detroit, Dallas. Linehan, you might remember, after Joe Brady's one season in New Orleans, in Baton Rouge at LSU in 2019, Brady got the job with Carolina. Well, Ed Ogeron hired Scott Linehan as his pass game coordinator. So Linehan, for that 1 year, replaced Joe Brady as pass game coordinator. Of course, Jake Peetz was hired as the offensive coordinator in 2021 after Steve Ensminger retired. But it was Ensminger-Linehan in 2020 in that COVID year. But most recently, Linehan had been an analyst at Missouri and then at Montana. He was an analyst at Montana. So maybe just digs living in Montana. But you're bringing a former NFL head coach now onto the staff. So it's Brandon Staley and Scott Linehan, two former NFL head coaches coming on Kellen Moore's staff, which I like because it's adding a lot of veteran coaching experience there. So a couple of new hires that are being added to Kellen Moore's staff. And we'll keep you posted as that develops and get Mike Triplett's take on that coming up here in about 35 minutes from right now. Sports Center is coming up. We're brought to you by our friends over at First South Farm Credit. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. You can always go to firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. Start there. Maybe you got a couple days off with the Mardi Gras holiday. This may be a great time to start looking into that. Of course, as we're getting closer to tax season, which actually is upon us, but tax day, I should say, it's a reminder of, man, could you use a nice tax break for next year? Buying timber property could be a great investment piece. Ask your CPA about that. Maybe you just want to buy that land to build your family's dream home. First South Farm Credit can help. Go to firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. Okay, y'all, it is After Further Review, a Monday show brought to you by Relief Windows. Mike Triplett, as we mentioned, coming up here in about half an hour. Ben McDonald, who was on the call this weekend in Frisco for the LSU games, will be here in hour 3. When we come back, former big leaguer Johnny Damon is here.
AFR.
Monday means Supper Club is closed, but fear not. They will be back open tomorrow. And yes, I know tomorrow is Mardi Gras, but, you think they're taking a day off over at Supper Club? Heck no. If you want to party on the Mardi Gras, go by Supper Club. Get your reservations at supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com, or remember, they always have open seating at the bar. So if you're looking for a place to have dinner tomorrow night, you log on to the website, call over there, book a reservation. Maybe you have a party coming up, some type of event, if it's a birthday, an anniversary. Maybe you've got clients in town or you're trying to win a piece of business. No better way to impress them than with the total vibe that is Supper Club. And, of course, you will have an incredible dining experience. Experience is the key word there as well, the operative word. Get your reservations, but remember, you can always, always, always walk in to the bar. It's open seating at the bar at Supper Club. So always keep that in mind. If you're looking for a place to grab drinks or quick dinner, you can do it at Supper Club. SupperClubbTR.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The Bengals put the franchise tag on wideout T. Higgins for the second straight year. The team is still hoping to work out a new long-term contract for Higgins. Cincinnati also cuts offensive lineman Alex Kappa to add some cap space. The Lakers have won 6 straight, 12 out of 14, and they're now second in the Western Conference. ESPN's Ramona Shelburne says getting Luka Doncic has transformed the team.
He fit right in there, and he's given them a whole different dimension offensively that I didn't know how this was going to work with him and LeBron, but it's been fairly seamless, which is incredible to say considering how impactful of a player Luka really is.
Ramona Shelburne on Clinton and Friends. Panthers winger Matthew Tkachuk will miss the rest of the regular season with a groin injury. Tkachuk got hurt playing for Team USA during the Four Nations face-off. In the new women's college basketball poll, Texas is still number 1. USC is second, their best ranking in 39 years, followed by UConn, UCLA, and South Carolina.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Tuesday. We're less than a week away from free agency, so I'll tell you which players can make teams title contenders. It's on Sportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right. Woo!
Hour 2. Off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
YouTube. And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Mike Triplett here, bottom of this hour. Ben McDonald next hour. Ben was on the call all weekend for the Frisco Classic. LSU swept through it. Ben was on the call. He'll be here with us a little more than an hour from right now to get his biggest takeaways. We did that last hour, talked about our biggest takeaways from LSU's weekend. We are scheduled right now to be joined by Johnny Damon. We're trying to make that connection right now with the Zoom link and all that stuff. But we will we'll do that as we can. Looking forward to the conversation. It is worth, really quickly while we wait on our connection with Johnny, LSU women's basketball, they lost on Sunday at home against Ole Miss. Really a disappointing loss, but I think Kim Mulkey probably told you the story. In pregame, she announced that they're sitting Flaugier through the SEC tournament. So Flaugier won't be back until the NCAA tournament. She's dealing with shin inflammation. So she was there for senior day yesterday, and she was wearing a boot, as many people saw. But the real relevant story here is, and Kim Mulkey kind of said it. I don't know, Muse, can you pull up the post game? Can you pull up the Kim Mulkey post game? I know Muse is working right now to get Johnny Damon connected, so my apologies. But this was Kim after the game on the decision to sit Flaugier in the loss.
And took advantage.
Well, it was turnover city. 23 turnovers. You have a 13-point lead. You run the first plays of third quarter, and you have turnovers with your main players. It is what it is. With Flaugier gone, I don't know that we'll win another game, to be honest with you. So until she comes back, and we get in the flow, it is what it is. We're still third place in this league, right? So we'll have the third seed. And what I hate is that we had a good crowd today in the middle of Mardi Gras. What I hate is we had a chance to break a record and get 28 wins first time. What I hate is it's 2 losses back to back, but I don't regret sitting Flagey.
Kim Mulkey's telling you the story. And honestly, it's something that we hear and see a lot from Kim. It's her just honesty. And a couple of weeks ago, Kim Mulkey, in one of her media availabilities, was talking about this women's basketball team and saying, why not us? Meaning for the national championship. It's one of those seasons where there isn't a dominant team. At times, South Carolina has looked like that, but then UConn went to South Carolina and blew the doors off of Carolina in their building. We've seen UConn lose. UCLA's looked great at times this year. They've lost. Nobody looks invincible in women's college basketball this year. So it's about your draw and if you're playing your best throughout this tournament through March and the beginning of April. And for LSU to do that, they got to have Flagey as close to healthy or as healthy as she could possibly be. So Kim Mulkey's looking at it going, okay, it'd be really nice to beat Ole Miss on senior day at the Maravich Center. It'd be really nice to make a run through the SEC tournament and maybe win the thing. You know what would be better? Winning a national championship. So she's making a decision to sacrifice the short term for the long term. And I think it's 100% the right thing. And she told you that there. Look, they sat Anissa Morrow against Georgia. And they won. They beat Georgia. And it was a thing where Kim even said, I'm paraphrasing, like so we'll get past Georgia, and then we got tougher games ahead, which they did against Alabama and then against Ole Miss and Kentucky, which was a great rally to win last week. But I think for right now, as tough as that is to realize like you're kind of sacrificing a game. I'm not saying you're not trying to lose it, but you're measuring the level and degree of importance. And as much as you would have loved to have won on senior night, you were still not going to finish better than third. Texas and South Carolina were 1-2. They flipped a coin. South Carolina goes in the SEC tournament as the 1 seed. And you probably were going to need to win out. And the Alabama loss might have cost you the opportunity at a 1 seed anyway. So you're probably going to settle in the 2 line, maybe 3 in the NCAA tournament. See how that goes. But the difference between a 2 or a 3 in the NCAA tournament is negligible if Flagey's not there, or 100%. So you rest her, you lose to Ole Miss, you're going to rest her for this week in the SEC tournament. Remember, LSU's got the double bye, so they won't play until Friday. So to win the thing, they'll have to win 3 games. They'd have to win Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You heard Kim say it. Might not win another game without Flagey. So they may go to the SEC tournament, play the winner of the winner's bracket game that would play after that, and and then you're ultimately going to see what you can do into the weekend. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if you bowed out early. You get your team healthy, rested. You look at your draw for the NCAA tournament and see if you can go on a 3-weekend run. See if you can win this program's second national championship. But you're not going to do it without Flagey. Kim Mulkey knows that. So now they're going to rest Flagey here and get her back in time for the NCAA tournament, hopefully closer to 100%. But the Tigers lose on senior night at home. Bummer that happened, but the big picture goal is still in place. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, with locations all over the United States of America. More than 30 locations across 13 different states. If you weigh or measure something, Michelli sells, services, rents the products that you use to weigh and measure. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Check them out online, Michelli, Michelli.com. Remember, at Michelli, we show the world what measurement can do. So whether you need on-site calibration or you just need a more effective and efficient way of getting your precision measurement devices calibrated, Michelli can do that. Instead of like shipping your devices to a lab somewhere in Chicago, call Michelli. They're right down the road. They'll come pick it up for you, calibrate it, bring it back. Save you time, save you efficiency, and their track system, 24/7, 365 access to all of your calibration certificates. That makes you more efficient. If you ever get audited, boom, everything's right there immediately for you. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Okay, word?
So a little bit of a scheduling issue on their end, double book.
Okay.
So I'm efforting for later today or possibly tomorrow right now. He's communicating with Johnny.
Okay. All right. I apologize. I only hate that that we teased it. So I apologize. I mean, it was supposed to be on right now. They confirmed the time and double book. So, okay. We'll plot on. If we can make it happen today, we will. If not, we'll shoot for tomorrow or a later date. I apologize for that. I just hate that we teased it and then it didn't happen. So, all right, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Men's team lost again this weekend. Not a great surprise. They lost to Mississippi State. Their next game is at Rupp against Kentucky. And then they'll wrap up the regular season. Just a miserable regular season for LSU. We talked about it after the Oklahoma win. I was glad they got it because they weren't going to win again, and they've lost to Florida, Tennessee, Mississippi State. They're going to lose to Kentucky tomorrow at Rupp, and then they're going to come home and they're going to lose to Texas A&M to close out the regular season. They'll go to the SEC tournament, probably be one and done there, and then they'll head into the offseason, an offseason where we've been promised LSU is going to spend money in NIL to build up this roster, so that way you give Matt McMahon a loaded gun. And you go into next season and say, all right, this is a roster more inclined with what you can compete with. Let's see how it goes. But for everyone who's disengaged from the season, I don't blame you. It's hard to watch or follow, especially when you got a lot more exciting things going on, like the women's basketball team, like baseball is number one in the country at D1 baseball today after A&M lost 4 games last week. And spring football starting on Saturday. And then, of course, the Saints going through a coaching change. Ton going on, man. It's hard to keep your eye on the ball with men's basketball right now when they are as bad as they are. So they'll keep going through the grind. They'll play Kentucky tomorrow. Basically 3 more games left. Kentucky, Texas A&M, and very likely 1 game at the SEC tournament. And then they'll turn the lights off on this season. All right, it's after further review. Mike Triplett in about 15 minutes. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about Action Industries, especially now that we're in March. And if you work in that world, the plant, petrochemical refinery world, March to October is your turnaround season. That's why I got to tell you about the Advanced Turnaround Group. So Action Industries, awesome people, local business, been around since 1982, and they've made incredible strides over their 43 years serving the petrochemical, the refinery industries. But what I want to tell you about specifically is the Advanced Turnaround Group. This is under the Action Industries umbrella, but is a completely different set of resources. This is people specifically dedicated to turnaround work. Turnaround coordinators, people who are proficient in that world. They don't take people from other parts of their business and dump them into the turnaround structure. The Advanced Turnaround Group specifically for turnaround jobs. So they'd love to bid your job, give them the opportunity. It's Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Join us at the Louisiana Outdoor Expo at Lamar Dixon Expo Center from March 14th through the 16th. Head over to the front to back booth and register for your chance to win a U10 new canoe, a compact, versatile kayak, perfect for fishing and hunting adventures. Visit 1045ESPN.com for details.
Combine was this weekend. Will Campbell, I love the response Will Campbell had when he was asked about his short arms. And remember, the short arm conversation, if you listen to the show every day, should not come as any surprise to anybody. By the way, Will Campbell did run a sub 540. He was the only offensive lineman to do so. My guy was hoofing it down that track at the Combine in Indy, a sub 5 flat 40, which was awesome to see. And the thing that Campbell said during his interview process when he was asked about his arm length, he said, if you go look at any of his tape throughout his entire career, any sack or any play that he had ever given up throughout his entire career, none of it ever had anything to do with his arm length. It was a great quote. And it's true. Here was a quote. You can look at my tape. There's not one play on there that when I got beat, you say, oh, that's because he has shorter arms. And remember, and if you haven't heard this part of the conversation yet, we have talked about it. It was Shea Dixon who put this bug in my ear back in the fall. We were doing a show together, and over at WBRZ, we were leaving the show. We were talking about the draft. I don't even know how it all came up, but he started mentioning Campbell and how that was some of the buzz in the scouting world, was that Campbell had short arms and that there never been a first-round offensive lineman or tackle, with arm length under a certain thing, and Campbell was that. And so a lot of times these NFL teams look at their metrics and their recordable data like that to say, well, if you have this sample size of thousands of players and you look at a prototype NFL tackle, this is what this prototype tackle is built like. And so the Campbell arm thing was something Shea told us back then was going to be a thing, and surely it's come up that way. But I don't know, man. It sure feels like the NFL is going to buck its own trend there. It could always go the other way. But, I mean, you start to look at a lot of these post-combine NFL drafts, and what you're consistently seeing still is Will Campbell in that top 10, if not, the first offensive lineman taken. Now, this one from CBS had Kelvin Banks going 4 to New England, which is where we had pretty commonly seen Will Campbell. They've got Campbell in this one going 10 to the Bears, which I think either of those spots for Will Campbell would be a really good landing spot. If he goes 4 to New England, obviously that'd be amazing. He'd be the first offensive lineman off the board. New coach there in New England with Mike Vrabel. Get a young quarterback in Drake May, and that could be your quarterback left tackle combo for the future. If he goes 10 to Chicago, like this CBS mock draft has him projected, you're talking about going to a spot with Caleb Williams, with a new head coach in Ben Johnson, again, another spot where you'd have great left tackle quarterback synergy with young players there that could grow up together in their careers. Campbell just feels like a franchise cornerstone, and maybe we're all biased because we've seen Will Campbell at LSU for the last 3 years, and those who follow high school sports in the state watched him play at Neville before then. And he's just such an elite level prospect, and he's just delivered at every level despite the outsized expectations. And that's kind of the thing that probably stands out more than anything, is when you have someone that comes in with those types of expectations and lives up to them, it's always maybe a little bit more impressive than someone who comes in and exceeds whatever expectation you have to be great. Like when Joe Burrow came here, nobody thought he was going to leave being the greatest college quarterback we've ever seen. No one thought when Jaden Daniels, well, I shouldn't say no one, because RC did come on here and say Jaden Daniels could win a Heisman. But that certainly was an outlier of a take. I mean, when Will Campbell showed up, we all talked about him potentially being a starter as a freshman at offensive tackle, and that he would lock down that spot, which he did for 3 years, and he was awesome. So, yeah, I want that for him. It'd be awesome, but I don't know that he can lose. He's not going to slip. It would be hard to believe he slips outside of the top 10. If there's a team that looks and says, I'm going to take Kelvin Banks over Will Campbell because Will Campbell's arms are 33.5 inches, okay, that's probably one you look back in hindsight and regret years down the line. But showed out, did really well, which was fantastic to see for Will Campbell and all the LSU Tigers that went to the Combine and performed really well. As a matter of fact, Chris Marler over at LouisianaSports.net has a write-up about the SEC guys that stood out at the Combine. So remember, everything over at LouisianaSports.net is always free. So if you want to go get the Combine standouts, you could do it there. One of them at the top of the list was Nick Emanwari, the safety from South Carolina, who he just obliterated the Combine from the 4.38 40, the 43-inch vertical, the 11.6 broad jump. His athletic ability was off the charts, and it matched the film where he was really good for South Carolina this year. So Nick Emanwari is definitely a guy who made himself a lot of money up there at the Combine this week. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Gents, if you screwed up Valentine's Day, make it up to her. Get her a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You can always go to the website. Or you could just walk into any of the Lee Michaels locations. There's 9 in all. 2 in Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, Shreveport. Remember, one of the things I always stress is you can always get the Lee Michaels experience over at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. So no matter if you're accustomed to walking into jewelry stores or you never do it, don't be intimidated. Don't think they're just going to try to sell you the most expensive thing in the case. It's a very low-pressure situation where they want you to not only be comfortable, but be thrilled with your purchase to thrill her. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Window. Mike Triplett's going to be here in 8 minutes from right now. My apologies if you're expecting Johnny Damon last segment. They double booked, so we'll see if we can make it happen for later in the show today or possibly tomorrow. But looking forward to that conversation. Actually, I don't know if I said this on air or not, but Mr. Beth Torina texted me, Nick, great dude, and said that Johnny Damon not only went to high school in Orlando with DJ Khaled, Joey Fatone, and AJ Przinsky, he also, Johnny Damon, went to high school with Beth Dieter, also known as Beth Torina, before she was Beth Torina. So Johnny Damon, AJ Przinsky, Beth Torina, it's a pretty good athletic school there, man.
Yeah, the Diamond Sports excelled, it sounds like, at Dr.
So
Phillips.
did the recording studios.
Yeah, the recording studios as well.
I mean, Joey Fatone, of course, was from NSYNC.
Yeah.
He was the fat guy in NSYNC.
I get it. Yeah, Fatone, like a fat
Well, that was
one.
a joke.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
no,
I
it's like for years, though, that's been a joke. They
I
call
get
him
it,
Joey
yeah.
Fat One because it's Fatone, F-A-T-O-N-E.
Yeah, it spells out fat one.
Joey Fat One. And then DJ Khaled.
Another one.
Really good. Hopefully we get Johnny Damon. Hopefully it works out. Maybe they could get DJ Khaled or Joey Fat One to headline Endymion next year. How about that transition, Muse?
Be good, too.
It'd be really good. I don't know if I'd be down for that, actually, either of those. That wasn't great. Endymion was awesome, though. We had an awesome time. And so big shouts out to Muse, who helped us discover, me and Erica discover, maybe our new favorite Train song that I didn't even know existed.
Oh man, I'm glad to hear that.
Play that song. It was a really good one, and they played it. Endymion was awesome. We had a great time. Oh, there you go. So Katy Perry actually was first.
Really?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm surprised by that.
So here's what I guess I figured out. If you've never been to Endymion, it's a long night. It is a battle of attrition. We walked out of there probably about, I think it was like 2:38 in the morning. And Train was still on the stage.
Ooh.
Yeah, like we're like, it's probably time, to wrap this thing up a little bit. And I think Muse, Katy Perry was probably like, you know what? I'm 40. I'm a mom. I'm going to go first.
Hey, that could.
Parade ends. Here comes Katy Perry. I kind of feel like that's the way it goes, is that it's flipped from what you would think it would be for that reason. Like, it's a long night, and people may, bounce out of there before the second act is finished. But we had an awesome time, man. There's our crew. Like, I don't know if you can see me. I'm right here.
Oh yeah, you're kind of in the back there. I got you there.
I have a Vuvuzela.
So good.
This is Keith, who rode in the parade. This is his wife, Danae. They're the ones who got us in. And Keith gave me a Vuvuzela because they were listening on Friday when I said the one thing I wanted was a Vuvuzela. And so then I obnoxiously blowed into that Vuvuzela all night long.
Well, of course.
Of course I did. At one point, the band was playing Shania Twain, Man, I Feel Like a Woman.
Such a good song.
And on the I was hitting the horn. You better believe that. So we had a great time, man.
It looks like a great night, man.
There's me and Erica. You know what else is amazing about being at the ball? Like, you see those beads around my neck? Can you go big screen, Paul? Like, that's like a giant pair, like the ball that's like as big as a softball on the beads, right? You get one of those at a parade, you're like, you won the lottery, the parade lottery. I got 30 of those.
Yeah.
I mean, Erica got hit in the face with a keychain.
Ouch.
She got hit in the head and had a big knot on her head as well. She got hit by something. I mean,
Head on a swivel, E-Rock.
She was standing on a chair, and I told her, I was like, babe, you got, like, first of all, if you're going to stand on a chair, you're a target. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you gotta get down off the chair. Or you got to put a hand in front of your face. Like, one hand in front of your face and then one hand up to catch. But it was a great time, man. I'm trying to find if she's got... Pull this down, Paulie. I'm trying to find one picture in particular. I don't know if I have it. It's probably on my phone. Anyway, it's an obnoxious picture of me with, I don't know, like 300 pair of beads over my neck.
So good.
It was a lot of fun. Great night.
That's the one, man. I mean, Endymion, that is the one.
There might have been a couple of LSU coordinators that were riding a float that pelted us with beads.
There you go.
I guess this is public. I mean, why would it matter? Blake Baker and Joe Sloan both rode. I don't know how, but they spotted us.
Erica was on a chair.
Yes, and Blake Baker fired a big Endymion like logoed balloon thing our way, and Erica was not looking, and I kind of pulled one of those I just saved your life moments because I got it like right in front of her face. Yeah. Oh, that's Katy Perry.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
this fire. Oh, this was she finished with firework.
Okay.
Yeah,
interesting. I mean, she has a lot that she could, that people would be like, oh, it makes sense that you finished with that. But all right.
She finished with firework. Roar was a big one.
Of course.
Crowd loved Roar.
Yeah.
She led off with.
Did we get last Friday night in there?
I can't remember if she led off. I think she led off with either last Friday night or the second song was Teenage Dream or California Girls. Can't remember. One of those was the first one, and then Teenage Dream was the second one. But she played them all. It was great. Got E.T. in there.
Good one.
Yeah, really fun night. Train came out there and led with Calling All Angels.
So good.
So, I mean, from kind of quiet to just, I'm trying to remember the opening line of it now because I have Katy Perry in my.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on. Let me take this off. I remember. Oh, yeah. I need a sign. Let me know. That. So it just came right there, Cole, with that, and everyone kind of went crazy. So it was good. Great night. Great night. Shout out to everybody. I don't know. So that was my first Mardi Gras experience in like 20 years. Not the biggest Mardi Gras guy. But you want to invite me to a ball? Boy, am I down for the party.
It's different.
I am down for the party. You want me to go stand on a street corner and catch beads? Not so much down for that. You want me to put on a formal and go listen to Katy Perry Train, catch giant beads, and drink Weller 12 all night? That's a good time for you, boy. All right, let me know. I got to break. Mike Triplett's next.
AFR.
And I am happy to report we did, in fact, go to Rouse's before we went to the Endymion Ball, because if you're going to load up cheese trays, meat trays, fruit trays, all your party trays for your whole crew, they got them at Rouse's. You know what else they got? King cakes. So Natch, when we went in, because you bring all your food in there, or you can bring all your food and your booze, we went to Rouse's, loaded up, got a bunch of, you know what was in my ice chest, Muse?
What was in your ice chest?
Evermore and Bud Light.
There you go.
Well, I said I had two things. There was three. Erica had some Chardonnay in there as well. She likes Frank Family Chard, because of course she does. So that was all that was in our ice chest. And you know what? Everybody drank my Evermore. They're like, this is the best thing ever. You know where we got it? Rouse's. You can get it lots of places, but Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Get by Rouse's. You can order your king cake. It's not too late to get that king cake shipped anywhere in the lower 48. It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's. This feels like home.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Busy couple of days for the New Orleans Saints. Over the weekend, reportedly adding a couple of assistant coaches. Here on Monday, adding 2 more. Man, might they release Tyrann Mathieu? Does any of that make sense? Mike Triplett's here. He'll make sense of all of it for us. Mike Triplett, NewOrleans.football. He's on Twitter, X at Mike Triplett. Hey, man, how are you?
Busy couple of days. Remind me the last time there was a non-busy stretch for the Saints? I can't remember.
Last time there was a what?
Non-busy stretch for the Saints? I don't seem to remember. They've been active, man. They've been reshaping.
Well, that comes along with the coaching, new coaching hire, right? I mean, you have to remake the whole thing. Well, let's start with these assistants then. Robert Blanton, Jay Rogers, Gary Brown, Scott Linehan. Anything there immediately just jump out at you?
Yeah, well, I mean, Linehan, right?
Sure.
I mean, he was at Montana, so he had taken a step back in his coaching career, but that's the former head coach on the staff. It's obviously a young staff. Brandon Staley's also a former head coach, but he's probably going to have a senior role. He's going to help with game management. You know, Rizzi comes to mind. Joe Vitt comes to mind. You know, you always want to have those guys on your staff when you're a first-time head coach, and he's really personal to Kellen Moore. He was actually the offensive coordinator for the Lions when they chose Moore as an undrafted rookie, and then kind of quickly realized he was basically a coach on the field type and gave him a lot of assignments that brought him to Dallas with him, then hired him as a coach. So he obviously means a lot to him. It's good to have a guy like that on his staff, similar to having Nussmeier on his staff, who he's worked with for years and years. So he's building the staff he wanted to build, even though he was obviously the last one to start assembling a staff. So that's good to see that he's got his guys with him. He's going to sink or swim with his guys.
You know what's interesting about Gary Brown as well, Mike? You don't typically see lateral moves in the NFL, like a position coach to a position coach.
Yeah.
Brown was a position coach in Pittsburgh, and I guess he's going to be a position coach in New Orleans. Make that make sense for me.
That is interesting. It's similar to the Joel Thomas move with the Giants. He was the Giants running backs coach, and he came back to be the Saints running backs coach. So a lot of time, it could just be based on the relationships that have been built between coaches who've wanted to work together and have the timing and the opportunity. So yeah, I agree with you that I will be curious to find out what was the genesis behind that one. And look, sometimes maybe Pittsburgh wanted to make a change, and that made him available. But it is really always a reminder when these coaching staffs are getting built. You're always like, oh no, who's this first-time coach going to hire? And it's like, usually it's going to be experienced veterans who are on the other 12 staffs around the league that just got laid off. Glenn Kubiak lands in Seattle, and these guys are always available, even when they're good.
Mike Triplett's here. Speaking of guys getting laid off, I saw the report over the weekend about the Saints possibly releasing Tyrann Mathieu. Mike, I understand he had a production decline, but when I look at his contract, his dead number is higher than his cap hit. So this makes sense. Like, why would that make sense to part ways with Tyrann at this point?
Yeah, I mean, that one doesn't make a ton of sense to me. And I had not heard that they're planning to do that, so we have not reported that ourselves. But, I mean, everything's got to be on the table with this defense this year. I mean, I don't think DeMario Davis is going anywhere, but I don't think anyone from that defense should be safe, considering they're changing all the coaches, they're changing the scheme, and they have cap issues. So anything like that would save a little money and get younger and get cheaper and maybe get better and maybe be thinking about the future, I'm never going to dismiss it out of hand. From everything I've been able to gather, I kind of think Cam Jordan winds up back here. I kind of think Taysom Hill winds up staying here with a pay cut. I think Tyrann Mathieu kind of already took his pay cut last year. And then DeMario Davis already took his pay cut last year. So I think those guys stay. Obviously, I think Alvin Kamara stays. But none of that would surprise me. So that could be speculation turned into a report. Okay. But I agree with you. They would not save a ton of money with Tyrann, who already reduced his salary quite a bit last year.
Mike, you and I have had this conversation so many times over the years about how they can make it work to get within cap compliance. So I'm sure you've probably already gotten the back of the napkin and done the math on this. What would make sense if you keep Cam Jordan and Taysom and Tyrann and Kamara? Like, what are the moves that would make sense, notably, to get within cap compliance?
Well, I mean, you could do it. You could restructure the top, just a simple restructure, what they do every year, which is, the best comp is probably the getting the new credit card and just transferring the balance. So now I don't have to worry about it for another year, except there's no interest, no interest involved when you do that. They've been doing it for 12 years now.
Right.
So just the old simple restructure route. This money will still be waiting for them again next year. You could get under the 50 they need to get under with 4 guys. You could do it with the top 4 salaries, and it'll be no problem. So it won't be any problem. They don't have to cut anybody to get under the cap. But I do think they're also going to look at, all right, let's stop spending money, actually spending money, so that next year's cap looks a little better. I think a pay cut will definitely happen with Taysom Hill. It'll definitely happen with Cam Jordan if he stays. The only way Cam Jordan would leave is if they don't have the role he wants. If he's not going to be able to rush a passer, if they only envision him as an interior rusher on rundowns, then he might want to leave. But otherwise, I think the pay cut works out with him. And I think there's a good chance they work out a pay cut with Derek Carr, too, and save some money there. I think everybody even though he said he didn't want to, maybe they can find something win-win, guarantee a little bit more money in his bonus next year if it's a parting gift. He wouldn't make $40 million on the open market, so I'm sure he recognizes that. Maybe they promise to spend the money and fortify around him on offense if he sees it as a win-win. But I bet they end up saving a little money on his contract. So that's all real savings. That's not just pushing money around. That's real savings. Then guys that they might cut, I think that'll only be if it's a football decision. Jamal Williams seems like an obvious one. I'm wondering about Nathan Shepard and Colin Saunders, depending on the vision of the new defense and guys like that. But I don't think, we've never really seen the Saints cut someone because they can't figure out any other way to get under the cap. They will cut them only if it's a football decision.
Do you think that could be the plan with Tyrann Mathieu?
I mean, it would be Tyrann Mathieu would only be cut if the Saints look at him and they say, we didn't like what we saw on the field last year. He's not a $7-8 million player anymore. We've got to move on. And I'd be a little surprised. I don't think they would do it just because, man, we got to get under the cap, so we have to cut Tyrann Mathieu. It would be, this player's not worth this much money anymore. And, he's not making that much. So I'd be a little surprised.
His cap
but I can't rule it out.
His cap hits 11.3, but the dead number, Mike, is 13.8. So if you cut him, it would cost you effectively, you tell me if I'm wrong, it would effectively cost you more to cut him than it would to keep him.
Yeah, I mean, you could always make a player a June 1st cut and end up paying half of that this year, half of it next year. So you're still saving the money that you're saving by not paying him a salary in the long term. Mm-hmm. That's why you would do it. Okay. But again, you don't do it just to get under the cap by next week. You don't do it for that reason. You do it if you feel like, we shouldn't write a check for this much money to this player anymore.
Couple more for you. Mike Triplett's our guest, NewOrleans.football. I know you and Nick were both at the Combine in Indy. Coming out of the Combine, is there a player or position based on what your eyes saw and the conversations you had that maybe has started to crystallize a little bit for New Orleans for the draft?
No. And I'm about to do this position needs preview. And I have a 10-way tie for first place.
Yeah, I was going to say everything? All of it?
Last year, I could have told you this early probably. I don't know if we can go back and find the tapes. How early? Probably Senior Bowl time. It became – no, I think it was after the first wave of free agency when it became obvious, all right, they're drafting their left tackle in the draft. They were installing a new offensive scheme. They had not addressed it yet in free agency. It was so obvious. And there were a lot of good ones available in the top 12 or whatever. I mean, everybody doing a mock draft was putting one of these left tackles on the Saints roster this year. I cannot do that. I mean, maybe it'll crystallize a little more after free agency when they filled some other holes. Maybe they'll fill one so convincingly that you can take it off the board. But boy, I just everything. They need a defensive end, a defensive tackle, a receiver, a tight end, a left guard, could use a right tackle. I mean, they just quarterback's not out of the realm of possibility. It's just this year's draft board that makes quarterbacks seem unlikely. But no, it's everything. even running back is on the board if they really love Ginty at number 9. But I mean, there's nothing I can take off my board based on the Saints right now, and that's good. You don't force yourself into a decision, but it's bad for the obvious reason.
Where would you start in free agency? Like starting from scratch as a player there, money to spend.
Yeah,
Where would
free
you start?
agency. I don't spend huge in free agency, certainly.
Okay.
And I don't spend on an old guy in free agency. I am not worried about just the 2025 Saints. I am not filling a hole with an expense. I am not signing Devontae Adams to fill the receiver need. Now, I actually think their salary cap outlook. I did a piece on this a couple weeks ago with the rise in the cap and the expected rise in the cap. Their salary cap outlook is not that bad long term. So if they see a 27-year-old guy that they think can be a part, that they want to sign to a 4-year deal because, he's going to be a part of this year's team, but also a part of what they rebuild into in the future, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But I'm not just plugging holes with, expensive 35-year-old guys that fill my most immediate need. They need to get younger. They need to get young talent. So, I mean, look, defensive end is huge. I'm really curious what they think of their defensive linemen because they're going to bring in this new front with Brandon Staley. Not drastically changing to a 3-4 like they need a big 350-pound nose tackle and 240-pound pass rushers. You can do it a lot of different ways, but they might not like the guys that they have right now, and they might want to bring in 3 or 4 new guys. So I think the defensive line, maybe left guard, are positions you could consider in free agency. Maybe an X receiver if there's one they really like. They're obviously very expensive, but those would maybe be free agency holes to fill. Definitely tight end. Maybe that's free agency and the draft. They have a lot of needs at tight end, especially if they don't bring back Juwan Johnson.
Yeah, the only good thing about having so many needs is it's hard to miss. Just throw a dart. Mike Triplett.
You definitely don't force yourself into a hole, right?
Completely. New Orleans.football. You'll get by. Read the stuff over there. Make sure you follow Mike at Mike Triplett. And we appreciate it as always. Thank you.
Thank you.
Be well. It's After Further Review. Brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing. ParishBuilt.com. ParishBuilt.com. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. That's me, that's Terrio, that's Tilly, that's Joe, that's Trent, it's our whole staff. Remember, commercial roofs, no matter the size or scale. We just recently completed a commercial roof over for a big retailer. I don't know that I'm at liberty to say. St. Martin Episcopal down in the New Orleans area. We recently did the roofs at the school. It doesn't matter. Commercial roof, we can do it any size. Residential, of course, need a roof repair replacement. We'd love to help you out. We also have a gutter division over at Parish Construction Roofing. It's a separate crew that is just dedicated to doing gutters. So we can get to your gutter job, lickety-split. We have a soft wash crew as well. So you want to soft wash your roof, clean it, extend the life of your roof. We can even do the whole front side of your home, sidewalks, driveway, everything. Soft wash to clean up here with spring cleaning around the bend. It's Parish Construction and Roofing. We'd love to help you. Do business with someone you know. ParishBuilt.com. ParishBuilt.com. All right, really good show. We appreciate you for hanging out with us here on this Lundy Graw. Ben McDonald in 30 minutes. He was on the call for LSU baseball this weekend. We'll get Big Ben's thoughts on the Tigers sweeping through the Frisco Classic. Come back. Musil do Tigers and the pros. Stay here. It's AFR.
After Further Review.
Oh, spring can't get here soon enough. Spring and the beautiful weather, the sunshine, the warmer temps, and pool season. Y'all, if you are just dreaming about diving into your own custom pool in your backyard, let Duplessis Builders help. They're the local pool builder that you can trust. Not only are they invested in our community. Look, Derek's from Santa Ma, went to LSU, has 2 degrees over there at LSU. It's an engineering degree, which he applies to his pool building. It's why, listen, any pool builder, all of them, could tell you, go look at my website, my Instagram. We do beautiful pools. Fact. There are, look at anybody's pools, beautiful work. But what's the foundation like? See, the difference with Duplessis is Derek uses his engineering background to build you a product that will last. He will not cut corners. That's why they offer you a 10-year workmanship warranty when the industry standard is 1 year. You want the best. You want Duplessis Builders.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Wrapping up hour number 2, always appreciate Brandon Holly and the gang over at Relief Windows. Windows, door siding, they do shutters as well, reliefwindows.com. All right, Muso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Paul Skeens made his spring training debut over the weekend.
Pretty good.
For the Pittsburgh Pirates. It was pretty good. 3 innings for Paul. Did give up a run, but walked 1, struck out 4.
Stinks.
Pitching Ninja noted this. Paul Skeens has added a cutter because, sure, why not? I mean, the splinker, the 100-mile-an-hour fastball, the changeup, the curveball, all of that just wasn't enough. I guess he was like, I need an 8th or 9th pitch, whatever he's up to now. So Paul Skeens now throws a cutter.
Naturally.
Jaden Hill continues a really solid spring for him so far. Inning and a third, perfect today for the Rockies. They currently are in the bottom of the 8th, but for him, 1 strikeout to punctuate that inning against the Angels. Why did I have that pulled up? Didn't need that one. Oops.
I don't know.
Yep, my bad. I was looking for Trey Morgan, and I just left the box score pulled up. That's my bad there. Naz Reid.
Should have stayed.
Yeah, you know what? If he would have stayed, he wouldn't have shot 3 of 15 from the floor last night. Just 7 points for Naz.
You know what's interesting is you always say the reason you don't do the Curtis Thompson stat line is because when he doesn't play well, you don't want to say something bad. Well, you just did it for Naz. Let's be honest, Buse. The reason that you don't talk about Curtis Thompson is because you hate him.
It's not true. It's patently false.
All evidence suggests otherwise, Muse, because actions speak louder than words.
He's not playing.
Actions speak louder than words.
Anyway, it wasn't all bad for Naz Reid, so he didn't let me finish. He did grab 10 rebounds and have 5 assists. A plus 26. Not bad when you shoot 3 of 15. Plus 26 for Naz, and the Timberwolves got a dub. And how about Duop Reith, man? It's been sparing for him. Been sparing for Big Wop, but 7 and 5 last night and a plus 8. 21 minutes off the bench as well. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Evermore. Drink Evermore, y'all. EVAMOR. Honest to goodness, true story. Saturday at the Endymion Ball. You know you can bring in an ice chest. I don't know if you knew that, but you bring in an ice chest. So I think it's like a 48 quart is size you can bring in. Loaded up with two things. Had my Ice Cold Bud Light, and I had my Evermore. EVAMOR, Evermore.com, Evermore.com. Got the 20-ounce bottles, and boy, they went quickly. When people realized what I had in there, it was like gold. I didn't know what was more popular. The giant flashing beads the size of softballs or my bottles of Evermore. I don't know. What I do know is that we took home beads. We didn't take home any Evermore. It was all gone. Clearly, it's what people wanted. Better form of hydration. Tastes great. Natural artesian water. A Louisiana product. When you buy bottled water, stop buying that junky, crinkly, crappy bottle from Texas, Muse. Buy a Louisiana product straight from God's green earth. Evermore. EVAMOR. Evermore.com. Evermore.com. Hydration for the win. I like that. Hydration for the win. All right, Sports Center's coming up. Get you caught up on national headlines. Are the Saints going to cut Tyrann Mathieu?
After further review.
Moving here into a holiday week, y'all, but they're still working hard over at South Point Volkswagen. You know, as we start this new month, if you're thinking about a new car, especially, we're into March now, parents whose kiddos might be about to graduate high school or college, you're thinking about that graduation present, we're getting close to that time. And at South Point Volkswagen, remember, among the safest vehicles on the road. Highest safety designation you can get. As a parent, I always start there. If you're buying a vehicle for your child, you want to buy the safest vehicle possible. But you also want something that they're going to enjoy driving, that looks great, and that you can afford. That's why Volkswagen needs to be at the top of your list. Highest safety designation that you could possibly get. You get the style, feel, performance of luxury, the great German engineering, manufactured right here in the US of A at a great cost. Check them out, southpointvw.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages, and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. For the second year in a row, the Bengals put the franchise tag on wideout T. Higgins. If he doesn't get a new long-term deal, he'll get $26.2 million this season. Speaking of contracts, Rams coach Sean McVay says today he was never really worried about quarterback Matthew Stafford getting a restructured deal.
I think there was a lot of narratives out there, and because of the caliber of player he is, there's a lot of stories. But I don't think either Matthew or myself ever really felt like this was a direction we weren't going to go.
Sean McVay. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports the Eagles plan to cut cornerback Darius Slay. That move will save $4.3 million in cap space. ESPN has learned Florida State and Clemson will vote tomorrow on a deal that would settle multiple ongoing lawsuits between the schools and the ACC. The conference board of directors will also have to sign off. At issue is the distribution of TV money and exit fees for schools who try to leave the conference.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier. They'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Ben McDonald here in about 15 minutes from right now. Baseball Tigers got a sweep over the weekend there in the Frisco Classic. Ben McDonald was on the call. We'll get his takeaways here again in about 15 minutes from right now. There was a report over the weekend that the New Orleans Saints could very well be prepared to cut ties with Tyrann Mathieu. That is obviously going to elicit a very strong reaction from this fan base for some very strong reasons. Tony Pauline was the one who had the report. And when you're talking about Tyrann, let's just start with the emotional tie that the fan base has with Tyrann. We all know his story. He's from New Orleans. He was a no-star recruit until he was a 4-star recruit. And then he became a Heisman finalist, took the college football world by storm as the Honey Badger. A year later, he's off the team. He's arrested. His football career hanging in the balance, gets himself right, drafted, and we know what's happened. He's changed his life. He has a family. He's done outreach programs for kids to avoid the pitfalls, the path he was going down. And he's managed a career now as he'll be 33 in May that is marvelous in the literal sense of the word. Like, we marvel at what he's done considering the depths at which he fell when he was arrested and kicked off the LSU team to where he is now, and he's changed his life. It's incredible. And we would all love to see Tyrann finish his career in New Orleans. As a matter of fact, last March, a year ago, when he signed an extension with New Orleans, that was the question. Like, does this allow you to finish your career and retire as a New Orleans Saint?
Yeah, I hope so, but I probably say, more than that, right? I got another chance to help these guys win. I probably say the last couple of years has, kind of been, underwhelming, to say the least, right? So to have another opportunity to suit back up with these guys, help this whole city win, that means a lot to me. So I'm excited about that opportunity.
Unfortunately, that didn't happen. They were not very good this year, and they don't really appear close to winning. Maybe he could be part of getting them back on a winning path. But during the Super Bowl week, Tyron said that he hoped to play maybe a couple of more seasons. We'll see if he gets there. We'll see if it happens in New Orleans. So there's the emotional compartment, the emotional part of this, where everyone who loves that team and loves the city and loves the state wants to see Tyrann Mathieu retire as a Saint because he's representing the city, and it's awesome. You remove the emotion and you just strip it down to football player production and contract, and we have a very different conversation. Pro Football Focus ranked coming into the 2024 season the top safeties in the NFL, and they had Tyrann Mathieu ranked the 10th best safety in the NFL coming into this year. If you just look at Pro Football Focus, the grades after this season, Tyrann Mathieu graded 105th out of 170 strong safeties in the NFL. Now, his snap count was 19th, and his 3 interceptions was 12th. But if you're just looking at the overall grade of strong safeties, he graded out 105th out of 170. I say it all the time with Pro Football Focus. It is a metric. It is not the metric. It's not the only thing to consider. It's just something to consider. But you can also look at the objective data. 3 years in New Orleans. In year 1, Tyrann Mathieu had 91 tackles. That was in 2022. In 2023, he went down to 75. This year, he went down to 62. And he hasn't missed a game, by the way. He's played in 17 games each of the 3 years in New Orleans. Has not missed a game. So he's been durable. He's been available. 91, 75, 62 on the tackles. Solo tackles, 64, 50, 47. You've seen a declining production each of his years in New Orleans. He hasn't really been a guy that's rushed the passer tremendously, but he had a sack his first year and no sacks the last 2 years. TFLs, he went from 3 to none to 1 this year. So you are seeing a guy that will turn 33 in May, that undeniably, both in the objective and subjective metrics, has seen his productivity decline his years in New Orleans. There's a financial component of this conversation as well. Tyrann Mathieu, as we mentioned, did sign a contract extension a year ago. And so when you look at Tyrann's contract, he is on the books this year. His cap hit is his cap hit this year is $11.3 million. $11.317 million. If they were to cut Tyrann Mathieu, his dead cap number would be $13.8 million. So you're looking at a situation where after the extension last year, and they had avoidable years to the end, like they always do, to sort of kick the can down the road, so to speak. But his cap hit this year is 11.3. The dead number is 13.8, meaning if Tyrann Mathieu's on your team, it costs you 11.3. If you cut him, it costs you $13.8 million. Now, they could do the whole post-June 1 designation, but that doesn't, I mean, again, it wouldn't even matter because it's going to cost you more for him not to be on your team than to be on your team. So, there's not really a financial benefit to cutting him or releasing him. It would specifically be, do you think that this player isn't good enough to help you anymore? And that's a roster spot that could be better utilized with a younger, less expensive player. And you would eat the cap hit. When you look at the roster, the only safeties you got right now are Tyrann, Ugo Amadi, Jordan Howden, JT Gray. Now, you signed Will Harris last year in free agency to a one-year deal. He played a lot for you, but he's an unrestricted free agent. So Will Harris could go play for somebody else this year, could sign somewhere. You could re-sign him. He'd go somewhere else. The point is, you don't have a ready-made, plug-and-play, ready-to-go option at safety. But maybe that's the position you target in free agency, or maybe that's what they're thinking in the draft. I don't know. But it's a credible source reporting that Tyron very likely is, or not, I shouldn't say very likely. That the Saints are considering releasing Tyrann Mathieu. But the only reason it makes sense is they just see a declining player that isn't worth the roster spot anymore. And if that's where they are, that's a tough pill to swallow. But the end comes for everybody. Tyron isn't on the back nine of his career. Like, he's pulling up to the clubhouse. And it's been amazing. And we're all gonna stand and applaud when he's done what he's been able to do and what he'll do in the next phase of his life. But the end for Tyron is near. If it's this year, if it's next year, whenever it may be, however much longer he wants to play, I don't know. But if they cut him, it's not a financial thing. If they cut him, it is specifically the Saints organization looking at the player and saying, you can no longer help us win. That spot has to go to somebody younger. And if that happens, it'll suck and it'll be a really tough pill to swallow. But it might be where the Saints are. We'll get that decision sooner than later. My personal opinion on the matter is Tyron's still a starting caliber player in the NFL. And if it's going to cost you more to cut it than to have him on the roster, I want that veteran and that locker room guy on my team, especially with a new head coach, trying to establish order. Give me good locker room guys. And Tyron is undeniably that. So even just for that, I think it's worth having him around for another season. And then you assess after the 2025 season. But I don't get to make that decision. Who knows what the Saints are actually thinking. One we'll watch as the league year is set to begin here in a couple weeks. All right, it's after further review. Hey, y'all, real quick. Tomorrow, the S&P Rare Whiskey Raffle is going down. I'll be emceeing it 6:30 over at Fred's in Tigerland. If you're a whiskey fan or know someone who is, again, this is usually like the last whiskey raffle of the whiskey hunting and whiskey raffle season. Again, it's the event is, I'll stream it live on my YouTube. It'll be over at Fred's in Tigerland. You're welcome to come on by. All the proceeds from the ticket sales benefit St. Lillian Academy, which is where my son attends. It's a special needs school in Baton Rouge, and also Baton Rouge Ancient Athletes Society. So all the proceeds from the ticket sales benefiting two great charities. You'll have the opportunity, potentially, if your number's drawn, to win the right to purchase a rare allocated whiskey at fair retail. You can buy tickets online, and you do not have to be present to win. So the link I have on my Twitter, on my Facebook, on my Instagram story. The link is everywhere you can find it. And again, you can purchase tickets online. So please help us spread that link. Help us raise as much money as possible. Again, tomorrow, and they'll be selling tickets, I believe, up to 5 o'clock tomorrow. So make sure you buy your tickets online or in person at Fred's or at S&P on Nicholson. S&P on Nicholson, by the way, if you're going south on Nicholson, leaving LSU, I mean, it's directly across from Tiger Lane. You can't miss it. So help us raise the most money yet. You can buy your tickets, all the proceeds benefiting St. Lillian Academy and Baton Rouge Ancient Athletes Society. So it's the, I think there's nearly 60 bottles in the raffle list. The price is all there on the S&P Facebook page. You can find it there, or on my Facebook page if you want to see it as well. So help us raise a ton of money. We greatly appreciate it. It's $10 a ticket, I should say. $10 a ticket, or you get, for $100 you get 12 tickets, or for $200 you get 25 tickets. So good luck. All right, it's after further review. Let's knock out a quick break. Come back. We'll talk about LSU baseball. Ben McDonald on AFR, presented by Relief Windows.
AFR.
Maybe you got a couple days off here for Mardi Gras. Maybe you got the whole week off. What a great time to get by Clegg's Nursery, y'all. Any of the 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area with springing. It is time to get by Clegg's. It is time to just plant something. And over at Clegg's, they got everything you want if you're a green thumb or if you're just getting started or anywhere in between. They got Johnny Naylor seeds if you want to plant that vegetable garden. They got you covered. Maybe you want some of those beautiful spring bedding plants, flowers. What an amazing selection with new shipments arriving quite literally every single day. They got hanging baskets as well. So whatever you're looking for to decorate the exterior of your home, our friends over at Clegg's Nursery have got you covered with the best selection, the friendliest staff, and, of course, a place that's been supporting our community for 6 decades. So buy local, shop local, just plan something, y'all. Tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parrishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs. From your hometown, parrishbuilt.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Expectations are a funny thing. When you're ranked number 1 in the country, you go to Frisco, you sweep the weekend against 3 likely tournament teams. And you got people that have something to complain about. That is the burden of expectation, and that is a reality with the LSU baseball program. The walks were at times an issue this weekend for LSU, so a good guy to talk to would be Ben McDonald, who's on the call for all the games this weekend. Good enough to join us now. Ben, we always appreciate you, man. How are you?
Doing good. How about you?
Man, I'm doing awesome. Okay,
good.
You got to see it all. 1 to 10, where do you put the concern level for the LSU pitching staff with the free passes coming out of the weekend?
1 to 10, 10 being the worst. I would say a 6 is where I am. I thought the first couple of weekends they threw a ton of strikes. The competition was not obviously as good as what they saw this weekend. We knew this week was going to be a good test for them. 5 games in 1 week. You got Nicholls State on Monday, DBU, a ranked team, on Wednesday. Then, of course, K-State and Sam Houston State, Nebraska. Really, 4 really quality teams, or really 5 quality teams for the week. So you thought the pitchers would get tested a little bit more, and they did. And it was a little bit of concern. I mean, there were some hit by pitches in there, and there was a few more free passes. I think I added it up around 22, 23 free passes, counting the walks and the hit by pitches. So that is a little bit of a concern. Remember, that was a concern for LSU last year with the pitching staff. They led the nation in strikeouts. We know that. They did a great job striking guys out last year. But the walks were too many. And talking to Nate Yeske, the pitching coach, and, of course, talking to Jay Johnson preseason, that was one thing they were really focusing on, say, hey, we got to cut back the free passes, especially in SEC play. And for the most part, early in the year, they did that. And it was a little bit of a disappointment for me, in this tournament as far as that regard goes. But all in all, it's still early. They're still kind of rounding this stuff into shape, trying to figure out who gives them the best chance to win and what, roles you're going to have in the bullpen. And, Guidry being out this weekend played a big role in that, too. I think if Guidry would have been healthy, maybe he would have sucked up a few more innings and you wouldn't have saw some of the other guys come in. And so that had something to do with it. But all in all, look, anytime you're the number one team in the country, that's where they are right now. It's hard to poke holes in it. But this team's got it's got a ways to go. There's no doubt about that. But look, everybody's got a ways to go right now. And all these coaches are in this filling out process before conference play begins.
Ben, let me ask you a pointed question about each of the three starters from this weekend. We'll just go in order. I'll start with Cade Anderson. What do you see that's happening after 5 that's causing him seemingly to very rapidly decline after the 5th inning?
Well, it's kind of what we're seeing at the big league level, right? I mean, guys are having trouble going through the lineup for the 3rd time. And these hitters are really good. They're really disciplined. They're coached up good. And you get through the lineup the 1st time, you get through the lineup the 2nd time. Can you get through the lineup the 3rd time? And that's kind of what we're seeing. So, let's not forget that Cade Anderson, let's back up a little bit. Let's not forget that he was a freshman last year, okay? Let's not forget he had a 27 ERA in conference play last year. He only pitched 3 1/3 innings in conference last year, and he gave up 12 hits and 10 runs in 3 1/3 in conference play last year. So this is a young man who's just a sophomore who didn't pitch in a whole lot of high-leverage situations last year against the best competition. Now, he did come on in the SEC tournament in relief. He was good. He was good in a regional in relief last year, too, as a freshman. So it started to click for him really towards the end of the season last year. So he's just a sophomore. You don't see many sophomores be the Friday night guys in the SEC. So this kid is learning, for me, still in a lot of ways. And look, this was a big concern with this starting 3 that I had for LSU. Cade Anderson, you mentioned. Chase Shores had a whopping 18 innings in his college career going into this year. That's all he had. Yes, it's first-round stuff. He can hit 100 miles an hour, but it still was only 18 innings, And then you take Anthony Ianson, and nothing against UC Irvine where he transferred from, but it's not the SEC, and it's not the type of competition that he's going to see. And while he had a really good year, I don't know how that's going to translate in SEC play. We shall see. So there are some question marks there, and it's not a knock on any of the kids at all. It's just the fact that Anderson, Shores don't have a ton of experience in big leverage, high moment situations, and Iason's never pitched in the SEC either. And so there are some question marks there.
Then we'll go to Ianson. Obviously, he got hit early, but he steadied it, Ben. And maybe more impressively is that he got you through 6 when he struggled early. What changed for Ianson to be able to get through 6?
I tell you what, for me, he was the MVP. We were sitting there doing the game going when he gave up 5 early, and I said the only way LSU makes a comeback is if Ianson starts to stack some zeros. Well, he figured it out, right? I mean, I think you go back, he retired, I think, 11 of the final 12 that he faced. That one base hit he gave up was an infield blooper that fell in, and then I think he struck out 6 of the final 11 that he faced. I thought his command got better. I thought his breaking ball got better. I think he figured it out, and that's what I wanted to see. And that's a learned trait when you're in trouble to be able to weather the storm and kind of figure out, okay, I've given up a few runs here. What can I do to back off the mound here to kind of figure it out? Because I've got to go out and compete and stack some zeros here. That was a veteran move by him to go the final 3 innings like he did. I think it was just about the rhythm, the mechanics. I think he started working ahead from a little bit more, and I thought that breaking ball and that split-finger fastball really came into its own those final 3 innings. So that's a big confidence boost for a young man to go out and flush. Because a lot of kids, you give up 5 in the first 3 innings, and your head's just wheeling, right? You can't stop the bleeding. Well, he figured out a way to draw a line in the sand, so that was a veteran move by him.
And then the third guy, of course, is Chase Shores, who you mentioned. And Ben, I mean, you have a lot of like just physical comparisons here as like a tall righty. With Shores, if there was one look, he's pumping 98, 99, but didn't throw as many strikes on Sunday maybe as we would have liked to have seen. Is there something you see, something mechanical going on there with Shores that's maybe caused him to struggle to find the strike zone just a smidge?
Yeah, I think so. Look, when you're 6'8", and I can relate, right? I was 6'7", and you get a little bit out of whack over the top of the rubber mechanically when you're 6'8". You're going to be a lot out of whack at 60 feet 6 inches, And he's going to be a young man because of his size, where it can be an advantage sometimes. It can be a disadvantage from mechanics. I always said 6'3" is about the perfect height for me for a pitcher because it's nice and it's compact and you can duplicate. Jay Shores will figure this out. He'll grow into his body. He'll get enough innings and reps under his belt eventually where he'll be a lot more consistent. But again, we're talking about a young man that hadn't thrown competitively since 2023 and early in 2023. So this year is kind of new for him in a lot of ways after willing only 18 innings going into this year. So he's got to figure his body out. He will. I love the stuff. It's a power sinking fastball, a good breaking ball. And I'll be honest with you, I thought he pitched better than what the numbers showed yesterday. Remember the base hits he gave up were really just kind of C&I ground balls. There weren't a whole lot of balls that were just absolutely torched off for him. A lot of them were kind of C&I singles that got through some holes. Yes, he did walk a few too many. I think he had 3 walks. But all in all, I thought he pitched the ball better than what the numbers said. Ben
McDonald is our guest. Of course, you'll hear him on the SEC Network and LSU. Baseball games all throughout the season. He was there on the call in the Frisco Classic this weekend. Ben, if I should have flip it and talk about LSU offensively, my goodness, were they good? In 4 games in Texas this week, they scored 38 runs in 4 games. So the offense is going. What do you think is the headline, the storyline of LSU's offense through this weekend or through this part of the season so far?
Write this down. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. That's what this offense is going to be. LSU's offense has averaged 130 homers the last 2 years. That's been their average, 130. They're not going to hit nearly that this year. This is not going to be a typical Jay Johnson offense we've seen the last 2 years. You look at where they are, they've hit a total of 11 home runs in 12 games. That ranks them about 14th out of 16 teams in the SEC. They are not going to hit a lot of home runs this year. They'll hit their share. Don't get me wrong. They will hit their share. But they're averaging 9.7 runs per game, which is the 3rd best mark in the SEC right now. Well, how are they doing that? Well, they're doing it by doubles. They lead the SEC in doubles. So they're not going to hit a lot of home runs, but they are going to hit a lot of doubles. Another thing they're doing really, really well, and this is the kind of the difference between last year's offense and this year's offense. They're not striking out much at all. The fewest strikeouts in the SEC to this point. Jay Johnson's got a lineup right now, 1 through 9, that he can run out there that's going to give you a quality at bat. A few times last year, LSU got down to that 7, 8, 9 hole, if you'll remember, and those guys were just out. They were trying hard, but they were just out in that lineup, okay? Now you've kind of flipped the script, and you got Curiel, the true freshman, who had a monster weekend. I thought he should have made all-tournament team. I voted him in. He came to the plate 18 times. And he was on base 11 out of 18 times. He had a lot of walks and a lot of base hits. He didn't make the all-tournament team. I can't understand why. But when you got a guy like that leading off and he's getting on base 11 out of 18 times to the plate, he kind of sets the tone for this offense. This offense is swinging it well. They're hitting .333, which is the 3rd best mark in the SEC from a batting average standpoint. And their own base percentage is way up there, top 2 or 3 as well. So they're finding a way to pressure you up 1 through 9. Everybody's giving you a quality bat. I think that the proof's in the pudding where you got Milam and Braswell hitting down at the bottom where they were hitting at the top last year. And that's because the others that are at the top right now with Curiel and Jared Jones are a little bit better than they are even getting on base right now. So it's a deep lineup to me that's not going to hit a ton of homers this year, but they're going to spray the ball all around the field and they're going to pressure you up. And Jay's running a little bit more this year, too. Yeah. You saw a few more sacrifice bunts. You saw some sacrifice flies, and you're seeing some guys take an extra 90 every now and then. And so it's a little bit different offense than what we've seen from LSU in the past. But the end result is this. How many runs per game do you score? And right now, you'll take 9.7 because if you go back and look at last year, LSU's offense wasn't great last year, averaged about 7.1 runs per game. That was 8th best in the SEC. So I like where the offense is right now.
Less than 2 weeks away from the start of conference play. It's just about here. Ben McDonald will be certainly one of the voices we call on here all throughout college baseball season. It's a great time of year, Ben. Love to get to talk baseball with you for a couple of minutes, man. We always appreciate the time.
Anytime, my man. Take care of yourself.
It's our pleasure. That's Ben McDonald, Golden Spikes Award winner, #1 overall pick. You hear him on the Baltimore Orioles broadcast. Of course, does a ton of work calling LSU games, the SEC Network, of course, for ESPN, college baseball. Just One of the voices of college baseball is so good at it, man. Loved hearing Ben on the call this weekend there for the I shouldn't say TV, for the stream broadcasts of the Frisco Classic. All right, well, now I got a quick break. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. That's williamsoneye.com. You want to ditch the contacts or glasses forever, the Williamson Eye Center can make it happen. I love talking to Dr. Blake about this because he says, look, it's an amazing thing to be able to do every day to change people's lives, and he gets the opportunity to do that every single day. And I know because I've experienced it to be, laying on that table, to have LASIK, to sit up and to look at a clock across the room and to be able to see for the first time without contacts or glasses for quite literally as long as I can remember. I mean, I started wearing glasses in the 6th grade. So, I mean, you're talking, 30 years, always having to reach for glasses or shove contacts in your eyes, man. To be able to wake up in the morning and see, it's life-changing. We went to Endymion this weekend. I didn't have to pack glasses or contact solution or anything like that. You just go. And, if you are a slave to your contacts or glasses, you understand. You live that life. And it's so liberating to be able to ditch it forever. I couldn't recommend it highly enough. And Dr. Blake Williamson is the best. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com for the Williamson Eye Center. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. Glad you're hanging out with us here. Otter Locks in about 15 minutes. By the way, Jimmy's picks are already up over at louisianasports.net. If you want them, they're there. They're free. You can get them there, or wait, Jimmy will be on here with us in about 15 minutes to give us his picks. So you can go get it always free at louisianasports.net. Tons of great stuff up there. Ross has a lot of stuff filed on the coaches the Saints have added. Hunt and I had a report today on the candidates for the LSU defensive line coaching vacancy. If you want to get that, it's there at the top of the page at louisianasports.net. It's totally free. Everything always free there at louisianasports.net. You go check it out. Mobile, desktop, whatever. It's always free. No paywalls, no subscriptions, no freemium. It's always free. Everything over at louisianasports.net. All right, well, now I got a quick break. Come back and continue Otter Locks in about 15 minutes here on AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by the Watermark in the Renaissance. Of course, Spanish Town was yesterday. A lot of people downtown Baton Rouge. You were right there by the Watermark Hotel in downtown Baton Rouge. I recommend it all the time. If you're going to be downtown, make sure you get by the Watermark Hotel. If you're staying, got an event in downtown Baton Rouge, Mardi Gras ball or any kind of event, man, make a night of it. A little staycation where you can stay in downtown Baton Rouge at the Watermark. Baton Rouge's premier hotel property, the Watermark, right there on 3rd Street. They got the Gregory. Amazing dining experience. Milford's on 3rd, which you can enter from the hotel or from 3rd Street. A more casual dining experience, great sandwich shop. The lobby bar there at the Watermark is gorgeous. Great place to unwind, have a cocktail, a glass of wine. You see all the architecture, the artwork that's been there since as long as that building has been open. It's got all the historical significance while they've added modern amenities. It's the Watermark Hotel, downtown Baton Rouge. Watermark, Baton Rouge.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable. And
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Join LSU Athletics and the Tiger Athletic Foundation for Bayou Tradition's second annual gala, a Louisiana Saturday night featuring Jordan Davis on the field in Tiger Stadium, Saturday, May 3rd. We are giving you on-field access. Register to win a spot at our table at 1045ESPN.com. Support LSU student athletes' NIL opportunities and reserve your table at lsutaf.org/events.
I'm sure that's going to be cool. Last year, that was in the indoor facility. They're moving it to Tiger Stadium this year. I mean, like a really cool, like black tie event in Tiger Stadium. That's pretty cool, on the field. I will not be there, however. Not going to be there.
No?
No.
Okay.
Pearl Jam's playing a Jazz Fest that day. I am going to Jazz Fest. Pearl Jam hadn't been a Jazz Fest since 2010. I will be living my absolute best life watching Pearl Jam at Jazz Fest. I will be there early. I will be there all day. I will be set up shop, ready to rock with Pearl Jam. I mean, last year Foo Fighters, this year Pearl Jam. I mean, I go to Jazz Fest one day every year. One of the days, one of the weekends. I pick a day, and that's the day. My brother-in-law Jeff and I, we ride down, meet up with some friends. Usually our friend Michelle Southern from Eagle 98.1. I mean, she lives her festival best life, like almost like a barefoot hippie in the grass. And she would say that to you too. Like, and she's awesome. So Michelle's there the whole time. We usually meet up with Michelle because she and her husband Daniel will have like some rocking spot. You with the big flags up in the air, reserved. She's like, just come hang with. Okay, I'll gladly just go to your. I'll elbow people out of the way and get to the front of the line.
I'll crash. No problem.
I'm down with that, unapologetically. But yeah, so the Bayou Traditions Gala, that it is a great event. I mean, I saw photos from it last year and everything, and looks awesome. And I think, now I know, we have 3 tables, guaranteed us, and I think we might be like doing a giveaway to let someone sit at our table. Does it say it on there?
That was the thing we just read.
Well, that we're giving away the opportunity to sit at a table?
Yeah, it says.
So we didn't.
Dang it. It says.
I'm not super pumped that we promoted that. Okay. Read it.
Yeah, it says, we are giving you on-field access. Register, win a spot at our table at 1045ESPN.com.
Okay. Well, last week in our managers' meeting, we talked about it. We didn't make a clear decision because, honestly, candidly, I'm a little nervous. Like, what if somebody rolls up in there, you know what I mean, at our table and
makes a scene?
Yeah. Misbehaves.
Yeah.
Any of that stuff. It becomes a reflection on us. I'm just a little apprehensive. Anyway. But look, if we're already promoting it, I mean, somebody
somebody made the decision.
Somebody with higher level credentials than I have made that decision. Anyway, so we're doing it. Hey, I ain't gonna be there.
That's true.
You can have my seat. How about that? I was at Endymion this weekend. This was awesome. Carla sent a text on the show text line. You can always text us 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. She said, I loved your Joe Burrow shirt. So I tweeted this picture. So we're at Endymion, and I didn't catch it. Lance, who was at our table, caught it, and he unrolled it and showed it to me. I was like, what size is that? He goes, XL. I said, perfect. Give it over here. He's like, you're not an XL? I'm not. I'm a large. I'm kind of like a, what would you call the difference between a large and a medium? A medium. A Marge. I'm a Marge. I'm a Marge now.
Definitely Marge. Yeah.
I'm a Marge, but I was like, I don't care. I'm wearing it. So over my formal, I took my jacket off and I put this Joe Burrow shirt on over my vest and bow tie. So it looks like I'm just wearing a long sleeve white t-shirt. It's a silhouette of Joe Burrow with like a Mardi Gras mask on and beads with I'll zoom in so you can see it if you're watching. It's like he's wearing a number 9 bead. I tweeted the picture if you want to go see it at Matt Moscona. That's a hell of a shirt. I don't know who designed it. There's nothing on it as to say which crew designed it or whatever, or would float. But somebody designed the shirt and they rolled them up and threw them, and that's an awesome design. And how about Burrow? I mean, I know he'll be like forever the GOAT and all that stuff, but I mean, 6 years after he's done playing, and you still got people making Burrow T-shirts and throwing them off of floats and stuff. You know what I mean?
When he's done, he'll get the opportunity to ride in the parades and Grand Marshal and all that stuff.
We could have done that this year.
Yeah, I guess he could have. Yeah, it's true.
Olivia Dunn was the Grand Marshal.
She was.
So got to see Livy Dunn there. Not really. I mean, I saw her on the float.
Yeah, for sure.
Then again, so did probably a million other people who were lining the streets for Endymion. But anyway, great time Saturday there at Endymion. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. If you missed it, real quick, take a quick minute, tell you about Shawbills, and then if you missed it, I did get an update today on the LSU defensive line search, so I'll give you the absolute latest on that. Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. I know a lot of people hitting the road this week to get out of town during Mardi Gras, or if you're out of town when you get back and your car needs service, if you need tires rotated, the oil changed, a check engine lights on, the brakes are squeaking, whatever you got going on, Shawbills can help. Maybe like I got family that drove to Colorado. They drove to Colorado to go skiing, whatever, to each their own. But, you put those miles on the car, probably going to need some new tires pretty soon. You go to Shawbills because they'll sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices, and they treat you like family, which keeps you coming back forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. That's at Shawbills. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. If you want to go get this news, you can. It's at LouisianaSports.net, right there at the top of the homepage. Hunt Palmer and I worked on this earlier today. Did get a little information on LSU. Everyone's asked about the defensive line coaching search. I led the show today with this with a full segment on it. You can get that on demand if you want. But Gerald Chapman was the top target for LSU. Bruce Feldman reported that over the weekend, and that LSU couldn't reach an agreement. Apparently, a big part of that was finances. Gerald Chapman had a pretty significant buyout and something I don't think LSU was interested in paying. So while that's disappointing, Tigers will move on in their search, and every name that I've been given that LSU's either contacted or been interested in all have SEC ties. Al Davis, who's the defensive line coach at Missouri, he would be the prohibitive favorite right now. I'd say leader in the clubhouse. If you made me go to a ticket window in Vegas, who's going to get the job, I'll tell you it'd be Missouri's Al Davis. They've also spoken with Ole Miss defensive line coach Randall Joyner. Joyner, there may be a financial component to that too. He's making over $700K at Ole Miss, and there's a big buyout, so that one may not work. But the other names, as I understand it, that LSU has spoken with, Patrick Hill, who was was an analyst at LSU in Kelly's first season. He's the assistant defensive line coach of the Minnesota Vikings. Brandon Dedrick, who played at Alabama, spent 2 years, the last 2 years, as an analyst at Ole Miss and just got hired as the Southern Miss defensive line coach. They spoke to him. And then South Carolina defensive line coach Travian Robinson is the other that's also spoken to LSU about the job. But again, I think Al Davis, it never done till it's done. That's the caveat I always got to throw out. But as of now, I'll tell you, I think the leader would be Al Davis from Missouri, who coached at Missouri, by the way, with Baker and Peoples and Jake Olson. So potentially another guy off off of Eli Drinkwitz's defensive staff coming to LSU. So we'll see when it's done. I would not expect an announcement until Wednesday. You get past Mardi Gras. The staff is off right now. So you get past Mardi Gras, everyone's sort of back in the building. Then maybe they make that announcement as they get closer to the start of spring, which, of course, spring practice starts on Saturday. Okay, it's After Further Review. Glad you're hanging out with us here. We'll get to Otter Locks in just a quick second. Again, I'll remind you again, the S&P raffle is tomorrow. This is the 5th annual raffle. S&P is right there on Nicholson, just south of campus. I love to support this every year because S&P, the proceeds go to benefit St. Lillian Academy and Baton Rouge Ancient Athletes. Of course, St. Lillian is where my son Drew attends school. It's an awesome special needs school. So the fact that S&P does this and donates the funds to a charity and an organization very close to my heart and my family, I'm more than happy to support it. So it's the S&P Rare Whiskey Raffle. It's roughly 60 bottles or so. And I need to get the final count. In the raffle, tickets are $10 a pop. You can get them in person at S&P or at Fred's in Tigerland, or you can buy tickets online. So everyone who's listening or watching out of state, you can buy your tickets online. You don't have to be present to win, and someone can go pick up the bottle for you if you end up winning. So please, please, please buy your tickets. If you know people who would be interested, share the link to them. All the money from the ticket sales are going split between these two amazing charities. We'd love to raise as much money as possible for them. It's $10 a ticket. The more tickets you buy, if you spend like 100, you get 12 tickets. If you spend 200, you get 25 tickets. So would really love it if you could maybe be generous and buy as many tickets as you can. And the raffle we'll stream the raffle on my social media tomorrow at 6:30. So we'll look forward, hopefully, to seeing a lot of y'all out. Come by Fred's. We'll be at Fred's at 6:30. So hopefully see a lot of y'all at Fred's at 6:30 for the raffle. And if you can't, hopefully you stream it and hopefully you buy a lot of tickets. So we'd appreciate it. All right, final break of the show, y'all. We'll come back and we'll do Otter Locks to wrap up next.
AFR.
Glow Resources, complete employer solutions. If you're a business owner, if you're a hiring manager, an HR manager, I'm talking to you, the operations manager, you, the person in charge of getting the right people in the business to make the business its most efficient self. Glow Resources can help. If you've struggled finding the right people to make your business efficient, if you've struggled finding the right people who show up on time and work hard, Glow Resources can help. If you've struggled to find the right people for your office job that can help make you more efficient internally, Glow Resources can help. They'll cast a national and sometimes international net through all of their variety of webs to recruit and find the best people possible for your job. In a given day, Glow Resources will conduct roughly 50 interviews across all their offices across the country. Some 15,000 interviews over the course of the year. They know the questions to ask to find you the right people. GLO, glowresources.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded. Because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on this Monday edition of AFR, presented by Relief Windows. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance. Now's the time to get that AC unit checked before it really gets hot. Normally $179, just $79 when you mention Otter Locks. Total Maintenance, 480-1000.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Otter, how are you?
Good, Matthew. How about you? Happy Lundy Gras.
Happy Lundy Gras. As they say everywhere else in the world, it's just Monday.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
It's true, man. It's just Monday.
It sure is. That's part of what makes Mardi Gras fun, though. You know that. What else is everybody doing on a Tuesday? You know, so
working, being productive members of society. We'll just take days off, shut everything down, drink booze in the middle of the day, and catch cheap beads that nobody really wants. Okay, get nuts.
250,000 people in Spanish Town.
Oh wow,
the weather was
that's
great.
Amazing.
By far best.
Love it.
I mean, I was trying to get to the Queen, went back up, up 110.
Why would you do that?
No, it was going to be. I went to 110 at Chippewa, get off at Chippewa. I was going and approaching Choctaw. The train was passing. I'm like, all right, I'll wait. And then it's going slow. I'm like, and then it stopped. I'm like, all right, I got to come back tomorrow. So, yeah. Man, I passed by Memorial Stadium. I mean, it looked like Alabama and LSU were getting ready to play there. People, I mean, what the hell? So Sunday morning, there are a lot of pink beads along River Road on the way to the Queen.
I bet so, man. Oh, man. That's awesome. All right, man. What are we looking at tonight?
Man, passing on this Duke game. I have kind of been picking spots every now and then to bet against Duke with these ridiculously inflated numbers, but they keep crushing people. I mean, Wake Forest is a bubble team. I mean, they need the win, but a 20, I'm just not going that route. But we are going to the second game on ESPN tonight, and that's Houston and Kansas. Kansas is a 10-point dog. They're 9.5 when it's submitted to Hunt. It might be going back and forth between 9.5 and 10. Not sure what it is right now.
I'm looking at 9.5 right now.
Very good.
Yep.
So Kansas is the biggest underdog they've been in 25 years. There's a reason for it.
Wow.
I mean, there's some kind of signs. Another veteran coach. I mean, now the school is like they lost a tough game to a top 10 team in Texas Tech. They put out a release. We didn't play our best. We fell short. Duh. I mean, like, what do you?
Wow.
It's weird. He's saying we need to get away from each other. It's just the preseason number one. And when you fall short of expectations, not that Bill Self is going to be fired at all. He's won 2 national championships at that team in a gazillion games. So, man, something just kind of, it just looks like, man, one of these veteran coaches getting a little tired up in Lawrence, Kansas. I think he's got a lot left in the tank, but just something to watch for.
Okay.
But I don't think they get right tonight at Houston. Cincinnati, we had them on Saturday. They covered the number against Houston. They've been playing very good. But Houston here should take a can out and put it on Kansas pretty good. We're taking the Cougars minus 9.5. And then they're going to ride a team that has been very profitable for us, and that is Northwestern. They lost 2 of their starting 5, about 8 to 10 games back. man, Doug Collins has done an awesome job with this team. They've won and covered easily again by double digits. That was an otter lock on one of my four picks on Friday on the show. And, man, they just win by double digits. They're at home, catching points against UCLA, about 3.5, 4. Tell me what it is updated right now.
3.5. 3.5.
Take the 3.5. We're going to take Northwestern at home against UCLA. So, again, just –
1 minute
ride
remaining.
that hot team. They've been really, really good. Martinelli is the big gun for them late. They're really riding him.
Where are you tomorrow, Otter?
Dozy Place on Government Street in the heart of Mid-City. That's right. We are open for business. So if you're bored maybe with the weather of the Mardi Gras plans, I know they're adjusting things down in New Orleans. Come by and see us for lunch tomorrow.
Yep, they're open because it's Tuesday. And the rest of the world says, hey, it's Tuesday. Let's have a Tuesday. All right, Otter, we appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Good luck.
All right, there's Jimmy Ott. We appreciate it. Catch Otter and Hanny weekdays for Live at Lunch, 11 to 1 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Big shout out to Brandon Holly and the gang over at Relief Windows, title sponsor for our Monday shows all throughout the years. Windows, doors, siding. Oh, yeah, they do shutters as well. There's nobody better. Give them a shout at reliefwindows.com. That's reliefwindows.com. All right, you miss anything? AFR On Demand presented by Brett Golf. Muse, Pauly, thanks. Y'all have a great night. See you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
You gotta believe